Testing, 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 testing. Mic check. All right, I'm getting set up. This is the think tank. For those of y'all who don't know, it's going to be a minute waiting for my guest to come in, the Honorable Dion Powell, who every week gives us something to talk about. Well, Donald Trump gives us something to talk about. So the way that works is I'm sorry, I'm adjusting everything. It's my first time going live the way we're doing it. We're trying something new. We expect to have great results from hard work. Actually, I want to set up a couple of more things. I think we're going to give you all a great show tonight. Let me post it in my Facebook because I haven't done that as yet. And oh, I might want to copy the link, right? Yeah, so we're going to be talking about everything Donald Trump. Donald Trump going through quite a lot right now. The courts have had that man busy. You understand me? And so we need to talk about that without question. What's going on in Russia is, well, anybody that's keeping up knows that it's a lot. We got a lot going on across the board. There's a lot of things to discuss, and I want to talk about all of them. The way we do it on the think tank, for those who've never been here that are new, is we have an across the aisle discussion. So I'm gonna be working with the 86 district assembly, 76 district leader today in the Bronx. He's a black MAGA Republican, but I mean, he's friends with the Proud Boys. I can go on and on about his MAGA affiliations. He used to sit on the board of Brexit with Candace Owens. This is a man that's very, very serious. He's a politician right now. He's helping run a campaign. He's somebody that you have to take seriously. He's very educated, has his master's degree. He's a community activist. He's not one of the politicians that wait around for election time. Then you see his face. He's active and in the community. He's in the community. He's doing his thing. He's out there working. You see him in the streets. He beat the streets with it. So the reason that that's important is he's not some Uncle Tom. He's a respectable, educated black man and a strong MAGA supporter. So I know that a lot of people, when they see MAGA, the first thing they think is the poor, uneducated white hick from the backwoods. But Dion is so important because he is an example of the fact that Trump has reached not only across the aisle, but deep into the heart of the hood. He's expanded his reach and the MAGA party reach far beyond party lines. And he's actually continuously bringing people to the MAGA side of the table. And for my phone, oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. My bad. I called you by accident. I'm in a live right now. I hit you by accident. All right. But my phone, I didn't even know I was on the phone. Okay. Wow. That was interesting. Anyway, I'm just rambling on. Dion will be on any minute, and we'll get this party started. I want to share this to my Facebook. I didn't do that as of yet. Uh, I stand corrected. Dion has now joined the party. Hope I
Well,
just blew that. What's
good.
up, man?
It's a galactic mega man today. Woo, woo. Gotta go to Ghana and get out of this country because I'm gonna lose my mind. I went to two of my Ghanaian churches today, see the ministers, say what's up to the clergy, and get my blessing and hightail out of this country. As soon as my luggage hits my door from Amazon, no, Walmart, I gotta purchase my ticket again. Poof, out of here. Just like happened in 2023. Ugh.
I know you're looking forward to it. We're supposed to get started. We got a few minutes before we start. I want to come in and give the team a chance to let everybody know that we're in here working. So I've been talking to them. I've actually been talking a lot about you because you're an interesting person.
Always.
I see you got the hard beard right now, boy. You
Oh,
cleaned up a
what is it?
little
What
bit
is
for
it?
this
What is it?
trip.
Let me see if I can find it for you. Damn, Leo. Let me. All right. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, excuse me while I whip this out. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh
Jet Black is
wow!
back, baby. Dion's going to Africa well prepared. Yeah, yeah. Let me see if it comes into focus a little bit. I gotta hold it steady.
I
Uh,
can see it
okay,
loud
Jet
and
Black.
clear.
Yeah.
Gotta take a few years off your life, huh?
Yes, no more looking rugged. Oh, I got the sunglasses though, because I'm in outer space right now. Look at this. And actually, this one, I think they caught up to a product I used to use all the time called Bergin, Bergn, because Just for Men wasn't that good at a point when I thought it was. But Bergin, I could use forever. But now they use the same Bergin formula. We have two sticks. You put in a little thing, you swipe them together, and you gotta put it in this thing. And it's like, wow, it's like the years flow off me. Now I just got, get the weight off. I fasted. This is my second day fasting. Nothing but God. I took communion today, which is like, all right, I gotta take communion, break the fast. Still, no big deal. But tomorrow, I'm gonna go back on my OMAD diet. I'm gonna just eat nothing but vegetables, steamed vegetables in the morning, frozen, and water. But that morning, that's it. Every day, every day, every day. Until I'm on that damn plane. Land. This is live right now, right?
Yeah, where people are watching.
Yeah, we are.
I
So
don't
I'm
know
gonna,
how
I'm gonna
many
end
people.
right there. I'm just gonna say when I land, I'm gonna
Oh my God! Here you go.
I'll be just for man. Just for man. Ghana, Ghana, Ghana. The thing is, I tell people all the time when I go to the churches, the Ghanaian church, I say, listen, Dave Chappelle, I want to be a comedian. He saved my life in a sense that he inspired me when he lost his mind. Just go to Africa. And that's what happened to me in 2020 when I ran for office, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I get to tell that tale one day about straight to Africa. And I was like, wow, this actually made a difference. My boy, when I went to Ghana, was much better when I went to Senegal as a tourist the first time. Shout out to AfricanAmericanTravelers.com, which is a good black-owned traveling agency. But Ghana, this is gonna be trip number 4, and I'm gonna be there hopefully for 4 months. Just poof, get off the grid.
Wow,
I
you
got some.
out like you had
You
you
don't
said I'm
know,
going
man.
there for a quarter of a
Doing
year.
doing business with blacks and Latinos who you consider brothers really would go south in politics. It's a toxic realm, and that's what happened in 2023, as you know. And some people we have in common. Now another brother that got me in the game too. Woo! Money, politics, business, friendship to the boosh. And I have some potential business dealings coming up. Hopefully, keep me sustain me, but I'll be able to
Good
float
luck.
around. I'm staying at my girl's house. I got to get her. I gotta send her more money to pay for AC and a bed. That way, I have free room board for these 4 months, cutting that budget. Get some more money. I can stay at my friend's uncle's hotel. That way, I can have parties when the fellas come because the fellas are coming in two functions. They're coming in beginning of July, and then another group is coming in beginning of August, and then in between, they're going to South Africa because this is like the passport bros. Before it was a thing, we started doing it, and Ghana's a springboard. So I'm just gonna be in Ghana the whole time. If I get some money up, maybe take my girl Sierra Leone, marry her, blah blah, and then get a baby in her, and just sail off into the sunset. I don't have much family here. My aunt, if she's watching, shout out to her. She's my only real family out of four people, three maybe, including her, my niece. So,
Wow, that's a lot. You just said that you plan on going to Ghana and getting someone pregnant.
because I'm gonna hopefully again President Trump. I'm gonna hit my contact tomorrow to see what's what. So hopefully when I land on the ground in Ghana, I'm hit up the end of the seat with my resume in hand, like, hey, I know this person, this person, this person. You know what? You're all fired. Donald Trump style, MAGA, Doge. You know, Dion's in charge now, but that's my
Oh my
dream.
God, it didn't go through.
What?
Oh, okay. No, I apologize. Talking to one of the teammates here at the think tank, one that's supposed to be handling the new guy that's supposed to be handling the things today. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's about 9 o'clock. My apologies. I that was a lot, but we got to get rolling. We got a lot to talk about. So, for those of that you don't, those of you who don't know, welcome to the think tank, where we use deductive reasoning. Oh man, I blew my opening. We use deductive reasoning, critical thinking, pinch of common sense to draw unbiased, logical conclusions. Today, I am here once again with the Honorable Dion Powell, who is our weekly guest twice a week. On Thursdays, we do recordings to try and sum up most of the week, where we release on Fridays and Saturdays, and we're here every Sunday, 9 p.m. Dion, would you like to tell them a little about yourself?
9 p.m. live here on YouTube, here locally, state, federally, and intergalactically, if not internationally, on the think tank. Like I said right now, as we were discussing, as we played into the intro, I'm wearing on my interstellar sunglasses and my black MAGA to take me to Space Mountain, not Death Mountain, and get out of this country straight to Ghana. And, hopefully I can get into the State Department through there. But yeah, I'm a consultant. I'm a pro person that says, hey, black man especially, if you lose your mind about what goes down in this country and how people behave and how the family's destroyed, just go to Africa. Just go. If you have a friend from Africa, even better. Find out who their parent family is on the ground. Just stay with them. Can't say it enough. And that's what I'm promoting today. And yeah, so I know the Ghana politics on the ground to get running. I have some business opportunities. So we'll see what happens. But yes, I'm an American, African American, and then all that kind of stuff. Christian first and that kind of thing. But here we're going to talk about Uncle Trump and how much good he is. I'll try to be apologist as much as I can as me and Leo do this dance again.
Well,
On the
for,
ground.
for those of you who don't know, I see that our channel is building very quickly. So allow me to explain that we do this across the aisle. Actually, when we first started, I was a lot more of a Trump liker, or I wouldn't say a supporter, but I did like him a lot more.
The range.
But as things moved on, well, I was never a MAGA man. Could never be on one side
You put
that
the hat on.
deeply.
They haven't broken you yet, huh?
But Dion represents the side where they are deeply, as I was saying in the intro, he's deeply in, even though he's an educated black politician from from the bluest county in the country, as he normally would state, making him making the fact that he's now a now a MAGA person,
Yes, you can't say
very
Republican
interesting.
because I'm a member of the Conservative Party of New York State, not a Republican. And we're not just a pinch, we're pounds of common sense.
That is debatable. We are going to debate some of that today, I assure you. So, with that being stated, this is the reason we like to have them. Though. See, we already started little jazz back and forth. This is how we do it. This is how we give it up. It's a lot of fun. This conversation, but we're going to talk about some really deep stuff. We talk very very seriously, even though we we're boys. But Trump is a divisive character. He in nature. Oh, you disagree? See, already we're disagreeing about something. So you're saying that Trump is not divisive?
The answer is he can be polarizing. All right, fine. He can be divisive. But the thing is, if you like the guy, don't like the guy, and look at his body of work, it's very easy to say, hey, this is where he stands, this is where I'm stands, this is what it is. For example, recently I think I sent it to you with the Stephen Colbert interview with Trump in 2015 when he was running for president. It was all hugs and kisses. But then once this man won, it was like, wow, this man's the evilest racist I've ever seen in my life. So these videos are coming out now, And people may hate Trump's guts, but the truth is the truth.
It's
That's what it is.
possible that they realized that while he was running, he was just kicking the flim flam. And when he got into office, he pulled out his real agenda, and his real agenda did not align with their political views. Just a hunch.
Or they just went where the wind was blowing, just like right now with the New York Knickerbockers and their fans. I wear my hat occasionally, but still, fair weather fans as it's called.
Either way is possible. And what we like to do here is give both sides of the argument and allow you, the viewer, to make your decision. If you have any questions, if you want to point out some facts, feel free to let us know and we will discuss it. But moving forward, something that would make, I'm sure, Dion very happy because it would represent somebody like him, even though it's not him. Kentucky Democrat Senator Robin Webb switched to Republican, making the largest ever supermajority. 32 out of 38 senators are now Republican. Wow.
That bad, huh?
32 out of, well, what do you think about that?
Well, I just got out of another meeting, and it just goes to show. And there were black, representatives that did leave the blue team to the red team because that common sense can be catchy with certain issues. And right now, even if we're not marked, I think it was, or New Hampshire had a black young brother with locks speak out against the gender equality and affirming care and boys and girls sports. Democrats will die on that hill. And a lot of people, even the constituents, like, yes, listen, we voted. We don't want this to happen. And more young people are getting red pilled because of that issue of boys and girls sports, as it's called. Now, you could say, gender assigned at birth, whatever the case may be, but there's certain things in life that cannot be broken as truth and what people like about that truth to be consistent. But we'll see. But if Leo, if you allow me to, I have a presentation I just showed somebody else about how the weather is starting to change for these voting fans.
What do you mean?
Well, the thing is, in the last meeting, we're talking about the gains Republicans are making,
Is there
and
something you want to share? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I got something
Please
that.
feel free.
Well, let's see. I just gotta, let's where is it? Where is it? Okay. So what I'm about to show you guys is New York City's voting trends. It's from the CUNY Graduate Center, a place that I went to in undergrad, if you want to call it that. So I just gotta let it load if it loads. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is it loading? Is it loading? Is it loading? Yes, it's a lot of data, but it's very comprehensive. Let me see if it did its job. Okay, here it is. Now I'm going to share my screen, family, and this is what happened in Kentucky, but on a local level in New York City, that is. Now, what you are seeing here, thanks to CUNY Graduate Center, is 2020's election results by party. If you look at the upper right hand and left hand side, you'll see in 2020 who voted for Biden, who voted for Trump. The Democrats win points, Republicans lose points, vice versa. Now, on the if I turn this thing to the right side, you'll see, hey, this is what New York City voting pattern looked like in the 2020 election when Trump went against Sleepy Joe and how much blue it was and this, that, and the third, except for Staten Island, who pays the most in taxes, by the way. And this is why they're red mad. But anyway, if I take this nice little tool here and I switch it to the left, no pun intended, to what 2024 looks like, wow, look how the colors changing from blue to bloody red in New York City. Isn't that interesting? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Now, this is what's important for you folks that know Dion. This is the damage the Bronx Conservative Party did. The bluest county in America, if you want to argue, and look how red it is in this area of the Bronx. Mind you, the projects that Dion went in is over here in these EDs. Now, this is my colleague in Washington Heights, if I can just spin this over. This is Washington Heights, my man Edwin De La Cruz, district leader over there in the Northern Manhattan Republican Club. This is him turning Washington Heights nice and pink or purple, whatever you want to call it. Now, let me zoom into another area. You see that spot from space? Closer, 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 closer. Oh my God. Look at that. You could argue that's the Upper East Side. Why would that go pink? Those people love homelessness and gender affirming care and all these wonderful things. And that's Also, I'll end by saying, look at this. Look at China. China. I said China. Trump said China, so it must be racist. Even Chinatown is going pink, and even the financial district itself, right down here by the bull, is going pinkish as well by City Hall. So that's what I wanted to show you guys to show you that the change is a coming.
Okay. Well, that is very interesting. I don't know if it's a positive change or a negative change, but it's definitively a big change. So that is what they mean by being red pilled. Now, if you're paying attention to how people are born and the sexuality and women and men's sports, then that would definitely be good. Because, well, in my opinion, I don't want to sound like I don't want to make enemies, but I
I
don't
have to stop
believe
on eggshells. You don't care about making enemies on this side. Is something wrong with your blue base that you have to work on eggshells around certain issues?
I'm not on the
Doesn't sound very democratic.
I never said I was a Democrat. I'm not.
Listen, no, no, I'm just saying that's not very democratic, meaning that, open, free, and fair, and everybody should have a voice, not have their voices silenced by the minority group or the majority group. That's why Republicans a little bit more common sense in having a dialogue. But if you can't say the word COVID vaccine or term COVID vaccine or Dr. Fauci, is that free speech on your side of the fence? Sip that hot tea. Hopefully it's nice and hot or cold, however you like it.
I'm not on either side of the fence. I'm not Democrat, no Republican or conservative. So, looking at it unbiasedly, yes, you do want free speech. Not like Trump has the news clinch now. Like, well, I'm afraid to say certain things because I think he's going to come after the independent media next. Like, if you like
How?
you, how man, yo, you call the Gulf of Mexico and you get kicked out of the White House. Like, what are you talking about?
The Department of Interior has renamed it, just like the Tappan Zee Bridge in New York is renamed
So what
after
does
the
the freedom
memorial
of
to
speech mean?
Cuomo,
That is, I
which
can
is
only say the stuff that you say I can say, or does it mean I can say how I feel? That is the freedom of speech that you just argued, is it not?
what's JFK Airport's real name? What's the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What's the Robert F. Kennedy Bridge called originally? Triborough. So why don't you just call it Triborough and see how the public reacts? But he's rebranding the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. I think it's a great thing. Get it? It's a great thing.
I don't care about it one way or the other. I think that it's an attack on Mexicans and it's subliminal. But as far as the Gulf, it's a Gulf with some it's a land of water around it. Like, what do I care what they call it? I don't. So the point being the free speech. If I use a name that I want, it's not an insult to say the name. Gulf of Mexico is not offending anybody except for Trump. And when you don't say what he wants you to say, you got kicked out. Freedom of speech not allowed.
Who did he
And
kick
that's
out?
that.
Who did he kick out?
Which news was it? The Associated Press?
Well, again, to be in the press corps in the White House is a privilege, not a right. And on top of that, if you base it on viewership, there are YouTubers and podcasters who have more eyeballs believing their content than the Associated Press. Shout out to Kara Castronova, who I know personally from the Gateway Pundit, and Newsmax, who's having me on her show, who's in that press corps now, because he actually opened it, expanded it to more people. However, if you're receiving
As long
federal
as they agree with him.
no, 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 no. And if you are receiving federal funding for news that actually turns out to be lies, smear, and slander, he will pull your funding. He's proven that for several areas. So why should you have somebody in the press call in getting all information other press pundits, YouTubers should have the opportunity to if you're just going to skew and twist everything the man says? Makes no sense.
Right, put somebody in there that's going to twist and skew it into the direction that he wants it. Because neither side is reporting it straightforward. We know that. I mean, as much as I try, no one can have an unbiased view.
Didn't
We
I
try
just send
and
you
be
a
as unbiased
tool?
as possible. That's why I have you here.
I think I sent you a tool as well for that. I don't know if we shared the screen. Remember that tool I sent you that actually aggregates all the news media and like who owns it and that kind of stuff? Did we talk about that?
We did. We did that the
Okay.
last episode, but it doesn't really it tells you where the person's coming from, but it still doesn't tell you. There's no way to discern every little piece of information that comes from any broadcast because something small can be something big. And I'll give a big example of that before this is over. Right now, I want to talk about our last president, Joe Biden.
Mhm.
He seems to have maybe possibly been a little under the weather during the end of his tenure in office.
Cancer, the C word,
It, I mean,
COVID.
it doesn't appear that he was in his right mind, his faculties.
Crazy. That's not a C word. I keep sipping on the scissor. I love it.
The other problem is all of a sudden now Donald Trump loves the guy. He would never do the things that he did because that's not who he was. He knew the man. So now this man that he's bashed since the campaign started about how terrible he was and how he destroyed the country would never do these things.
Well,
And
the
it
thing
must have been
is,
somebody else.
Trump is very methodical with it. Let me tell you why. Rewind to the debate he had with Kamala Harris. He said they kicked him out like a dog. Now, Trump knows how to do PR marketing promotions. He knows that now he has to make the world sympathize with Joe Biden to have the Democrats keep eating each other. Because this man was used and abused. Some claim elder abuse if they look at what his wife, Joe Biden, the first lady, did. But think about it. Now all of a sudden, all Democrats want to make money with their tell-all books of how much they knew about this whole, calling and hiding Biden. So Trump's like, wow, that's real messed up. How they going to just eat this man alive now? And he's not even in his wherewithal. So you know what? I feel sorry for the guy. Maybe he doesn't feel sorry, but I feel sorry for the guy instead of bouncing on top of him like they would do if it was reversed to Trump. And the thing is, Trump's doing that dance for a reason. The media makes the people see the media's hypocrisy and covering the footage. Because right now, the media's saying,
That's
oh,
not why he's doing it.
we need to move past this. Why are we still talking about Joe Biden for? We need to worry about that totalitarianism guy in the White House now.
The reason he's doing it is because it's actually brilliant. He's brilliant. He's scary brilliant.
I love
The
it.
reason he's doing it is you hit upon a piece of it. He's doing it because now he could turn that lens on the entire Democratic Party. He doesn't want it's not that he likes Joe Biden any better and wants to forgive him, but now instead of just aiming at Joe Biden, he can aim at the entire Democratic Party and everybody around him and use the facts of the case to say, well, it's all of them and secure the Republican Party even further.
But is that his fault or the Democrats' fault?
I just said it was genius. I don't know.
So it's
And
the
it,
Democrats' fault. They're doing it to himself. And he's just using the kindness to kill him routine to make sure that they won't be able to win because their hypocrisy keeps coming out as that much they keep trying to cover it up and not answer to the public because it raises more questions than answers as to, hey, even regular doctors say, hey, this guy probably had cancer for some time now to be so advanced. So how come the public didn't know
which
about
is
this?
actually not true, but
So wait a minute. So you're telling us that this man has stage whatever cancer they discovered now, and
okay, so here's how it works, right?
okay,
Stage four,
there's a medical degree behind you. I see. Okay.
no, it's not, but I've known one or two people with cancer, so I know how it works. Lost a couple of people.
Sorry.
Not something I'm fond of, but doesn't change the facts. So here's how it works. Stage four cancer means that the cancers move throughout your body, it's in the blood, you're dying. But you can be all the way up to stage four cancer and never know you're sick. You could just really find out at stage four,
Can I ask a question
unfortunately.
though? But can I ask a question? This is a prostate cancer, correct? And men, sometimes just for men, plug, find out of a certain age and they get annual checkups for no diddy. Now, the thing is, a man of a certain age, let's say 80, normally this is on the doctor's radar. I'm just asking a question now. It's your turn.
I don't disagree with that.
But they're saying that since Biden or the handlers had a certain medical friend around him to sign off on his physical paperwork, it wasn't even looked into about or considered. Isn't that interesting? So that's why it's raising
But
more questions than
being,
answers.
but here's the thing. So if you might not even know you have it till that stage, even if you do have it, it would not stop you from being able to do your job. Would that so the thing that was you was watching where he would freeze up and forget where he was at and be staring off into space?
Parkinson's.
It wasn't cancer. That was something else. So there was more wrong with him.
So, are you outraged as an American citizen and veteran
Outright.
for your commander in chief to be, for example, even his, I think, Joint Chief of Staff, the black brother they installed had cancer and was hiding it from him. Remember that situation when things.
No,
Okay, well, okay, how about this? You research online when Russia, I think it was Russia, was flying planes over Alaska, and they were looking for this guy. He was laid up in the hospital with cancer, and they said he didn't tell the president that he had cancer. Look online; it should be there if you could find it.
I
I'll
do
find it
recall
for you.
that.
All right, because you're a veteran. You were in the Navy. So you had the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's the title, I believe. He had full cancer, didn't tell the president. He said, yeah, I'm sorry, didn't tell the president I had cancer. If it's something that small, could be said egregious in the grand scheme of, military, legal Department of Homeland Security and Department of Defense, then if the president, who's the commander of him in chief, has this disease, this is why annual physicals are important. Like your taxes. Remember, we had to see Donald Trump's taxes, and that's why he had to impeach because he didn't show his taxes. If taxes are important, why aren't the physical health and wherewithal, mentally, cognitively of our president is not
What
important?
is the name of that? HIPAA? HIPAA. The answer is
No,
HIPAA.
the president that you see that would go for the common man, but this man's an important person. They have annual checkups to let the public know what's going on, and that's why they
Right.
harp on Donald Trump's physicals, harp on it. They harp on his taxes. But again, these are things that apply to Joe Biden. And hypocrisy is just eating the Democrats alive.
Oh, you asked me and I agreed 100%. You asked if I was outraged. I said outright. I mean, you're beating it, you feel you have something. I don't know what it is, but you're right on that. I don't know why that's a discussion. But I mean, the way Trump is moving is a little wild. Like he's calling for Jill Biden to testify against him.
That's just Trump
Everybody
being Trump.
knows.
Bill Barr said it best. That's just Trump being Trump.
No, it's not just Trump. Well, it is Trump being Trump, but it's not just running his mouth. It's targeted. He's building a case to the public that the average American probably is not going to say to themselves, wait a minute, you can't testify against your wife. What is he talking about? They're instead going to say what he wants them to think, which is, yeah, why did she say something when she can't testify against a wife? That's retarded.
Well, that makes sense. I know that in graduate school called bedroom talk in legal defense. I said, wow, it's interesting how wives and priests and these other people have a legal, moral, ethical binding where they're protected from that kind of scrutiny. But the thing is, the question is this: the major news outlets, whatever you want to call them, want to sweep this under the rug. However, their viewership is going lower and lower. The intrigue of the conspiracy itself of what went wrong with Joe Biden and the media is actually getting more eyeballs on this side of the screen. For example, let's say, Jill Biden is protected. But what about the other staffers that were keeping him so contained, coddled, and certain information from not getting to the public eye? For example, the Her report. Remember the Asian guy that said, yeah, we can't really charge Biden with anything because he's not within his wherewithal. Oh, that guy doesn't know what he's talking. He's not a doctor. Now his audio has come out to show how Biden was like humana when it came to answering certain very simplistic questions.
I didn't know about that. That's
Look
even
up the Her
worse.
report. Yes, right, and
I
exactly.
don't need to look that up. If I was going to be outraged, I'd be outraged enough at the last 47 days that he spent in office, where 54 projects received 50 billion, energy projects received $50 billion. $40 billion was the most allocated in history in all 15 years. And in the last 47 days, he allocated 50 billion. So in 47 in 15 years, they got $40 billion out in this project. His last 15 days in office, he did 50 billion. Wow, that would be something for me to be outraged about. He was making sure to just get as much money as possible. If it would be outraged at something, it wouldn't be to her reporting the man's health. It would be about the fact that he was outright stealing from the American public. But you
No,
get mad at little things if you want.
that the auto pen. Remember the auto pen, and not being his wherewithal. That's why the argument on this side is like, well, the audio pen was actually exploited if he didn't know what he was signing in the first place. So that goes to that amount of money being spent, and that's why Trump is hated because he's trying to prevent that waste, fraud, and spending, just like that, like with Stacey Abrams and the rest of his cronies. Then on top of that, in that same timeline, remember he pre-pardoned his son, Dr. Fauci, and some of the January 6th with Liz Cheney, that oversaw that whole investigation.
Debacle.
So now it all comes together. Isn't that great? Because all the stuff that we talked about maybe 2, 3 years ago is coming to pass as wow. But now, wait a minute, you guys are parroting the same talking points we had for the longest time. So look at yourselves.
Look at who sells. I once again am not on either side. I'm about truth. And I look at both sides, try to find the truth. The truth is, I don't know who was running that auto pen, if it was Biden or not, it doesn't matter. Anybody who knew what was going on and stole $50 billion from the American people is responsible for a crime. Whoever it is should face the repercussions of their actions. I don't care about all of the other politics involved. Oh, he was sick. Oh, nobody said he was sick. Yeah, that's his private business. Them stealing the money, that's a problem. Now, that's me being unbiased. Or if I was on the other side, as you would put it, and I was buddy and MAGA, I'd be like, yeah, look at all this unimportant stuff. He was such a bad guy. He was sick. He didn't tell everybody he was sick. Which sounds to me like if you've ever been sick, would you go out and tell everybody? No? Okay then. But did that give you the right to steal $50 billion from people? What's important in that situation?
Well, again, the judicial hearings, whatever we're going to call it, investigation has to look at all the people that were covering up, or no, putting
No,
cover.
that's right. Covering it up. I said that's the same thing. Yeah, I want everybody responsible. Agreed, 100%.
So let's say you're an intern and you're a loyalist, the ripe old age of 20, and you were part of this. I was just following orders. Remember that? I was just following orders. You have to make
One
sure.
of like Elon Musk people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the 28-year-old target Elon Musk, at least you could say, hey, the media was doing its job, which is to heavily scrutinize Doge. On the flip side of that, the media did not do its job when it came to President Joe Biden. And look at me, no, Cameron, look
Agreed.
at me. F you if you feel otherwise. Remember that, Chuck Scarborough? F you. This is the best Biden I see, and F you if you say otherwise. And we have to
Who
keep
happened to be, for those of you who don't know, a Democratic supporting major media personality who had a lot of sway. So him saying that
his
would
wife,
convince a
Nika Berensky.
he could convince a lot of people to trust Biden, even if he knew that Biden wasn't of his full faculties. So this man saying that was the media putting the screws to the American people when they wasn't telling the truth and it's assumed might have known some of this was a lie.
And then fast forward, go down to Mar-a-Lago once Trump won to have a nice conversation. Isn't that interesting? Because you know Trump, just like I said at the beginning of the show, Stephen Colbert, before all this, then he became president, became evil. Now after this, they're buddy again. They have his personal phone number and they came to his house. Isn't that interesting how the media works?
Sounds like they're reporting the news. So speaking of the news, Puffy's been all over. What was that?
Let's go to Puff Daddy.
It seems that Puffy's all over the news. He's everywhere. Can't get. I can't turn my phone on. Nothing. What do you think about that case? Do you think he's
What?
going to jail?
We're pivoting from politics to personality.
Not at all.
All right, so once again,
Leading in.
shout out to Sabi Sabs and Miss Webb. So this is, oh, excuse me. We could say white girl in this show, right? She did a thorough investigation of this Puffy case, and then you have people like Suge Knight and Puffy's ex-bodyguard, and this other homegirl over here. Everybody has their 2 cents, but is he going to jail? Trump again can pull the pardon card. Like I said before, which you have on the list today,
Do
and
you
for a young
think
boy's
he's
pardon.
guilty?
Well, what is he being charged with? That's what I can't understand.
A RICO charge.
The answer is so wait a minute. I thought he was charged with sexual assaults because that's what you see on tape. Now, if it's a RICO charge, then they're presenting information to the public that has nothing to do with the case, which is what I've been told. all the videos of him and Cassie beating her up, that's what I thought he was being charged with, which is sexual assault.
No, that charge that expired. It's past the statute of limitations.
Thank
That is
you.
not a RICO. That is not a RICO charge.
Exactly.
That that is the build up to the RICO charge. In order for a RICO charge, you have to have a few things in place. You have RICO. The first letter in RICO is racketeering. What is racketeering? It means you're a criminal organization. And if you're a criminal organization, that means that you have to be funding criminal activities through a business or through business ventures. That's what a racketeering is, right? So one of the things that he could be, and in order to prove racketeering, you have to be proving two different charges, right? So the first one that they're trying to establish is prostitution across state lines.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
where Cassie comes into play. The beating her up and all of that is small fry stuff compared to the stuff he
Right.
was doing. They got him scraping guns off ARs. They got him bombing cars. They got him kidnapping. All of this because of Cassie. Because the car bombing was Kid Cudi, and he did that to Kid Cudi because he was seeing Cassie when they broke up, and he wanted him to stop seeing Cassie. He kidnapped her best friend, allegedly, according to this is all alleged, because this was being stated on the stand during the case. Allegedly, he kidnapped her friend who worked for him, took her to Kid Cudi's house, allegedly, and bombed his car while he was there while chasing him around, talking about he wanted to kill him, allegedly, according to her friend.
There's that word. How the saying goes, I'm not sure that word means what you think it does. Not you first. I'm just saying everybody just throws that word around too much for me. Go ahead.
And so it's because it's a disclaimer, it's safety. Now I can't be sued for saying what I'm saying. It's a disclaimer. No, it's a
Don't be
disclaimer.
serious. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
Okay.
why you have to use it as a disclaimer, or you can be sued. So for those of y'all that don't know, y'all might have just learned something, right? He knew already. He's being a jerk. So
I'm just
I know
trolling.
you know.
We don't use the word jerking, we use the word troll. You
He's
misunderstood
trolling
me.
me. So he did that. So now we're talking kidnapping, arson, attempted murder, and it's all tied around Cassie. That's why the big thing about Cassie, because Cassie is the center of their case, but it's not about the beating of her. Believe it or not, that's the least part of it. That's just the part that got your attention because it was such a heinous act. But there was so much more. So the question is, do you think he's guilty?
Now, from what you're saying to me, I'm not in the hip hop realm. Shame on me because I denied myself that in the Catholic school. But from the evidence presented on the surface of what we know of him, it's possible. Now, if he's charged with something he did not do, but he has a past history of this situation, it's wrong to charge him for if that's not what he's guilty of, if that makes sense. The next thing is, from what I'm hearing in the rumor mill from the social media YouTubers, is that, Cassie's story's not adding up right now. And that's the problem with the Me Too movement implosion, as it were, ladies, unfortunately, with false accusations. Now, Suge Knight added his 2 cents, his former bodyguard added his 2 cents. Other celebrities talking about this freakdom and Hollywood. It all adds up. But yes, if it's racketeering, observing this man outside in, I could be wrong. It is a possibility. That's what I have to say about that. But if it was sex
So
abuse,
you think that's why
well,
Trump is pardoning him?
well, yeah. How can I say this? Just like Jeffrey Epstein and some of these other Mughals, if you listen to the Miss Webb, I gotta get her name. Her name is Webb. The last name is this journalist who investigated this. It's all interconnected. These people, their parties, their lifestyles, their networks, and even families by way of marriage and so forth. So it is possible that there would be dirt on Trump here as well. And that's why Cash Patel and Dan Bongino are in trouble on this side because they believe that they were, not telling the truth about how Epstein offed himself, if I can say that, or deleted himself, whatever the case may be. And there should be more to it. But yes, there's certain things that there's so many powerful people interconnected that it
Well,
can't.
Trump's people say that they looked at the tapes. He went in by himself. There was no one else there. He offed himself. That's according to Trump's people last week.
Cash Patel
So
and Dan Bongino, a lot of people are.
yes, not I didn't hear Cash. I heard his right hand. I heard
That,
his
that's
assistant.
that's that's what people want and project. That's the word they use, projection of what you want to see. as opposed to the truth. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But there's certain things like
That's what they said.
well, certain
That's
things,
according to your FBI guys.
right? But there's certain things, for the whole conspiracy paranoid people with the tinfoil hats that just can't be touched. Like Candace Owens interviewed that other guy. What's his name? Harvey, the Harvey guy, and how his case might be thrown out as well. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I
Harvey,
don't know his first name. Yeah. I know you're talking about
that boy.
though. No, I do. I know, but and he's freeing other people. Like, okay, Puffy might be innocent, but this man seems to like freeing felons.
He is a felon. Oh, yeah,
It's probably the reason.
felon.
It's probably the reason.
Or maybe he just likes to see the underdog win, just to piss off the general public at large who've been trying to hold him down. How about that?
How about NBA YoungBoy? Pardon because his lawyer helped him during the election interference debacle, for lack of a better word, in Georgia, while about a year ago, I forget now, but probably last year. So NBA YoungBoys, I'm getting a phone call in. NBA YoungBoy was pardoned. Do you think it's because he was helping out his lawyer?
It's possible, but keep in mind that Trump also had to get pressure from the Democrats and Reverend Al Sharpton, from when ASAP Rocky got Trump and went to jail internationally. Remember that? And they said, Trump, you got to help this guy. So again, the president of the United States has a prerogative. Remember that Bobby Brown video? It's his prerogative on who he pardons and why, depending on where the pressure is coming from. Again, I always deflect to Maryland State Attorney Marilyn Mosby, who was kicking and screaming, begging and pleading Joe Biden to pardon her for her real estate dealings. Shout out to Tish James. But as a black woman, she didn't get it. She got played. She ended up publicly playing herself. But that's how it works.
Well, let's we've done enough fluff. Let's talk about some. Let's start getting serious now. I
Okay.
mean, we're talking about young NBA young boy and Puffy. Even though that's the biggest story out right now, so that's why I segued there and led into the pardoning situation because it's possible that Trump's on tape somewhere. But again, I don't care. It's not important. I don't care if he comes out on tape. So what? Was he having a good time? Go ahead, Trump.
But wait,
I
wait,
mean,
wait.
like, go
So,
ahead.
wait. What's interesting is Trump is just waiting to see how things play out, whether he's guilty or not. And then he's not pre-pardoning Puffy. Isn't that interesting? He can do it right now. So you know what? Drop everything right now. I want to make sure my guy's forgiven to 1996 when Biggie went down. He's pre-pardoned. How about that? Trump's not doing that. Just like Uncle Eric, he's just looking and waiting to see how it play out, and then maybe he'll strike. Understand?
Yes, he's playing it for the media. It's brilliant. Trump's brilliant when it comes to marketing. He's probably the best in the world. He's very scary. He's probably the best in the world. But let's get to something. Let's get to the more serious stuff. Let's talk about now. It's time to get serious. I just want to give everybody enough time to join in, and now we're going to talk Russia.
Here we
What do
go.
we have here? Ukraine was set to run out of ammo by the end of the summer.
Wonderful.
I was happy about that.
Mhm.
So apparently, Trump has woken up to the fact that Putin's been playing him. He doesn't seem very happy. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, he said he didn't know what happened to Trump. I mean, he didn't know what happened to Putin. Excuse me, I'm not reading it, I'm just recalling. After last weekend with the largest attack since the war began 3 years ago, with hundreds of drone strikes and missile strikes throughout Ukraine on civilian areas. The rest of the world is appalled. Even Trump was appalled. The rest of the world jumped in. They said you can strike back into the heart of Russia because before that, Ukraine's hands was tied. They weren't allowed. Now, now it's on and pop it. Get them. Because if they come, we're next. I think we talked about it last time. Trump is like, I knew all along Putin was going wanted all Ukraine. He wasn't going to stop. I'm not even. I'm gonna give you the bruh and leave it at that. But now Ukraine is struck back. They have taking advantage of the capabilities that will allow for them to strike deep in the heart of Russia. They've destroyed what appears to be 54% of Russia's long-term, long-range nuclear weapons. They've struck a serious blow, the hardest blow given in this entire 3-year war. Where does Trump stand? Do you think he's going to back out of this altogether? Do you think he's going to give up on one of his campaign promises to end this war by day one that's escalated beyond anything anybody ever wanted to imagine? Do you think he's woken up to the fact that Russia's Putin has been bombing innocent civilians since the 90s since he came to power?
Oh God, this is hard to listen to, but you're going to say it anyway, so I will as well. Yes, hopefully Trump spins this story and the fact that hey, Putin here, Victor has the spoils, and guess what? As a result, the war is over. All right, media, let's focus on something else.
The war is over.
Yeah, Russia won. The war's over. Let's keep moving, family. All right, Putin. Zelensky, you got to go to Russia jail now and go to their tribunal for your war crimes. All right. Let's move on to something else as the world turns.
Actually, one of Putin's right hand men, ex president, ex ruler of Russia, who's on his cabinet or whatever, it's in here somewhere. I didn't get to that point, but what is his name? I don't have it. He's warning because you know Trump is like, well, and this escalates, very bad things could happen. They're saying the only real bad thing that can happen is World War III.
No, I'm saying
No,
the
that's what Russia said.
okay. Yes, if we keep just give Russia Ukraine. They lost already. Just give it to them. Let the weapons run out and just see how it plays out. Let's spin the globe again in our direction. Excuse me.
55% of Russians want to be a world power now.
Hmm.
Russia's talking about World War III.
Hmm.
Trump doesn't act, and what do you think happens?
Nothing. Just the way the other stuff that everybody hypes up about Trump doesn't happen. Nothing's going to happen. And then we'll go into a new threat around the corner and then blame Trump.
So, as a MAGA supporter, your belief is Trump's not non-action and non-commitment to doing anything serious to deter Putin from further escalation in Ukraine is going to be irrelevant to the stance of the world by the time that this encounter is over.
Well, that's a loaded question. I don't even understand it. What do I believe now? Seriously, I don't understand the question.
Um, wow. Let me figure out another way to phrase that because that was wildly. It
Do
was
I think that
worded
Trump
perfectly. It was perfectly
does Trump
worded, but it was long-winded as heck. All right.
go ahead.
So you think that Trump not acting and Russia getting what they want is not going to have long-term effects at a global scale, including affecting the United States?
No, I don't think so. No, how can I say this? Yes, I believe it will, but in the immediate present moment, it does not serve America's best interest to get involved with this conflict. So yes.
That sounds rather short-sighted. Like you're saying that, oh, it'll work. We'll worry about it down the line. We'll worry about it when it
I
comes.
This
That sounds very, very
this
MAGA.
comes from the
It sounds
place
very MAGA.
This comes from the place of historical perspective, like getting involved with what? Iraq. How long were we there? Like getting involved with Afghanistan. How long were we there? So now it's like, hey, let's just let sleeping dogs lie. Let's stay out of it. We already invested too much weaponry, soldiers, and money. So let's stop it here. That's a good thing.
How
Global
about
peace.
preventing World War III, which Russia has now openly stated is on the table?
Well, let's just say this. Again, NATO and the UN have to do its job without the United States. How about that? Does that sound
Well,
better?
Canada, Germany, France, and the rest of the EU are building up in preparation for that world war right now.
Good.
The United States is the only one that's like, well,
Everybody roots for them anyway over our president, so fine. Let them have each other. I'm okay with that.
America first, huh?
That's right. And that's what that means. We don't want to invest monetarily or militarily in other countries. Just like Israel. Israel again is another polarized issue on both sides. The right side, America first, and on the left side with the pro-Palestinian people. Make sense? Because if you're America first, you want to make sure that our country and its values, its issues, its security come first. So if NATO, the UN, the EU, Canada, Mexico, and Mars want to fight Russia, let them. We'll just sit back, protect our borders, and build our military over here and just watch isolationist style until, for some miraculous reason, like World War II, we're brought in. Just like the landing on the moon. Okay?
Well, I know economics isn't like your favorite subject,
What? Well, how was that economics? Okay, let's go spend the economics. Go ahead.
but this is a pivot, correct?
Thank you. Thank God.
So Russia is escalating this war. Ukraine is escalated. They're talking about World War III. And the thing that keeps the United States in the thing that keeps the United States in power in the world is not the United States military. The United States boasts we have the strongest military. This. I was part of that military. It's strong. It's not what keeps the American people, keeps America on top. What keeps America on top is the fact that we have the global coin. The dollar is the global currency for the world. 20 years ago, 85% of all trade globally was done in USD. What that means is if China wanted to buy oil from Russia, they used United States dollars to purchase the oil. They couldn't purchase it in rubles or their own currency, as it were, or the yen. If you're talking about China's yuan or the ruble in Russia, none of these currencies were used. They used U.S. dollars to make
Okay.
their trades, and the United States made their money off the interest on every trade, or 85% of the world trades. What kept the United States in power and kept the United States strong was its deep root in the finances in every country in the world. By withdrawing from that, you're withdrawing from the United States' true power, which is having that global currency.
I
In
don't think.
fact, that is what's wrong with the tariffs. Now, that is the real issue. That's what that was the muscle of the world. When Russia decided to attack Ukraine, what was the first thing we did? The United States didn't come in and say, we're going to send our military, because our military can't beat Iraq, they can't beat Iran, they can't beat Korea, they can't beat Vietnam, they can't fight and win a war that way. What the United States can say is, you can't trade anymore. They can impose sanctions. You're not allowed to use the US dollar. That's how we hurt you, not the military. What Trump has done, what Biden started, was
Thank you.
weakening the dollar. Well, absolutely. When he imposed the sanctions on Russia for attacking Ukraine, Russia was supposed to be toast. What happened was the
They
rest
blew
of
up
the
the
world
North
said,
Shore pipeline.
I'm sorry?
They blew up the North Shore pipeline. We blew up the North Shore pipeline. You don't remember that news?
No.
America, exactly. They're not, the media is not going to cover that. Look up blowing up the North Shore pipeline. America was involved with that situation in order to try to cut Russia off. That's what I was told. I could be wrong, but that's the information I've been provided about the war, trying to cut off the supply chain of oil and stuff like that to Russia. But mind you,
Cut off the supply chain to one of the largest oil suppliers in the world.
all right, I'm going to keep.
You do know that Russia gives oil, not takes it, right?
All right, well,
Everybody buys oil from Russia.
sorry, yeah, move on. Sorry, I was speaking out of turn. Go ahead, Leo, because I did. I'm just saying stuff that I was in that realm, but I don't have enough information to keep going with it. Go ahead.
Uh, Russia is one of the largest suppliers of oil in the world. Iraq, Iran, Russia. These are not no Saudi Arabia, Iran, I believe. Russia is one of the largest. Regardless, the way that they hit them was, if you probably remember this in the news, Swift. Remember Swift? Swift is the way that the United States dollar is transferred between countries. It's the system, the banking system that's used when one country wants to buy from another. So the way that it works, they cut off Russia from Swift. That is what a sanction means. cutting them. That's how they leveraged the sanction by cutting them out of SWIFT, so they couldn't use U.S. dollars and couldn't sell oil. That was happening under Biden, and Russia was hurt afterwards. What happened was they started trading using their own local currencies. They did find a way to use the yuan and rubles. Once that was done, then Russia was able to stand again. Now, it still needs SWIFT to do a lot of trades. Still, more than half the trade in the world is carried out in US dollar. But the world was trying to get out of it. One of the first things Trump did when he came in office said, anybody that tries to get away from the US dollar, they called it de-dollarization, gets 100% tariffs. The very first tariff he levied. And all of a sudden, everybody stopped trying to de-dollarize. But I believe it was last week, 3 of the largest economies in the world that make up more than 50% of the global economy, 55% of the global GDP. GDP is gross domestic product. So when you talk about GDP, you're talking about all the goods and services in a year. So every bit of thing you could sell in one year, goods being products like anything you sell, and services, things you do for people, all that, 55% of them represented are getting together to get away from the United States and using the United States dollar. Trump is causing countries to run away from the US dollar. He's causing, wow, what was he supposed to get into all of this? This is what's happening though. He's causing countries to get away from the US dollar. The de-dollarization efforts are being done by China, and the GCC, which is basically China has set up something where they're partnering with the rest of the countries in Asia, and GCC is basically the Middle East, Iraq, Iran, Syria, blah, 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 blah. And they're having a summit. They didn't have it yet. They're having a summit. And their main effort is de-dollarization and the Belt and Roads Initiative, which is China is building up third world countries, is what you might know them as, but the more appropriate term in today's lingo would be the global South.
I'm just laughing because we got to be careful with language.
Well, I wouldn't want to be called a third world country, but the United States is starting to look like one. The global South. 55% of the global economy is a problem for the United States. And China is doing that right now. And because of the way Trump's handling Russia is why they're doing it. So not getting involved and isolation is causing people to go away from the United States dollar and making the country weaker economically. While that's happening, what else is going on? Our credit ratings going down. The United States had the best credit in the world. Like, you couldn't get better credit in the United States. And Trump's response to that was, what? I don't agree with them. Which, I don't agree with Experian. Let's go. That doesn't work, you said? What do you think is going to happen if all these countries decide they don't need the United States anymore?
Well, like we said, the disclaimer, Dion, economics is not your strong suit. I'll say this much. Seeing as though we're the #1 consumer in the world, I think we have a certain amount of leverage in the grand scheme of things. For example, if all these people turn on us and we decide, you know what? Donald Trump was right. We need to just buy from ourselves those economies across the country. In my economic opinion, I could be wrong, we'd be taking a greater blow than we would from that whole scenario. Don't you agree?
No, absolutely not. So, no, it's not.
America is not the #1 consumer in the world.
America is the #1 consumer in the world.
Don't you think that being the #1 consumer in the world, that we have a certain amount of leverage against the world?
The way China's deal is working, they're actually going to make more money selling to these to ASEAN and the GCC. That's the way this is set up right now. Right now. They're going to make more money dealing with this in this summit They're setting up to make more money dealing with them than they are with the United States. So the United States being cut out is not going to hurt the global economy if they have 55% of the world's GDP. That means they have more of the world's finances than the United States does. And all of its allies, 55%, they got more than half the world's power, financial power, period. That does makes the United States ineffective. And the way they're doing it is because one of the things that made the United States so strong was the fact that they were partnered with the GCC, the Middle East. They was buying oil from Iran and Syria. They was buying things from the United Emirates. That was what made the United States one of the things that made the United States so strong. If they switch and partner with China, all that's gone in a heartbeat. And China's Belt and Roads Initiative has gone through Africa. If you've been to Africa, then you know about the Belt and Roads Initiative and how
I'm going right to
basically it
Africa.
built Africa up.
Did someone say Africa? Toasty! That's where Dion's trying to go, to Ghana. So yes, whatever you say, Leo, I'm forced to agree with if it gets me there.
Well, China is the one building up Africa, not the United States.
Well, there's a reason for that as well. Keep in mind that the United States wants to build up Africa through humanitarian aid to make sure that Africa has marriage equality, gender affirming care, and a lot of other stuff that culturally they're not with. However, the Chinese are willing to come in and, buy up some land, give them some
Build roads, build
infrastructure.
manufacturing,
Yeah.
and
And then
yeah, do
bam,
all.
China got you. And now China controls everything, just like some other things that we know in life, right? So yeah, that's why China and Russia have more of an influence over Africa than the United States, unfortunately.
That's actually what is actually happening.
Ha 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 ha! Don't seem so sad about it.
Well, don't you think Trump should be doing something about that rather than saying, "All right, go with China, we out"?
Well,
Well,
yes. Like put Dion over there in Ghana in the office so I could just be in there trying to solve some of these problems. But again, if you're America first, fine. Africa and the countries they're in are have sovereign nations, meaning they can make up their mind one way or not. But now, as extra incentive, we're going to pull our money out of Africa and let you guys have to your own devices. But if you look at some of the peace treaties that Trump actually helped out in Africa, maybe he just wants to go that diplomatic effort as opposed to, spending money on gender affirming care in Africa through US aid.
I
And
don't know. Everybody's saying he's lying. India's pissed. India's like, yo, he's trying to take credit for a war that ended a war that we took, that we won, and we won, and that's how we ended. And Trump's talking about he won. America, they basically called America stupid for believing him, basically. But that's India. Anyway, we have so much more to talk about. I went way off subject. Damn, I went way off subject. Where were we? Okay, you did mention some of this. So $100 million cut to DEI for the Board of Education, and $59 million cut to hotels for immigrants in New York City. These, I believe, are court cases he won.
okay.
So $100 million cut to DEI programs for the Board of Education. Let's start with that. That's something that I know you was good for, right? We don't need DEI in the Board of Education.
Promises made, promises kept. That's how I feel about that.
Yes, because DEI never helped black people, right?
Why does DEI mean black? That's the first question.
Who cares if it means black or not? What it does is help black people. So if it's something that's going to
Does it
help me, I'm
really
for
only
it.
help black people? Does it really only help black people?
Who cares? Why are you using the word only? Who cares who else
Did
it
you
helps?
bring up the
So
word
I'm not going to
black?
support it because other people are getting helped.
Why did you bring up black? I didn't bring up black. You did.
Well, because black people need all the help we can get. Look at Trump's cabinet.
Oh, no, 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 no. You see, the visual and the factual are two different things to your
No, they're
analysis.
not. The visual is the visual. It is what it is. It's what it looks like. You might have a sprinkle of black people here and there, but
That
when you look
doesn't.
around when Trump's making decisions, we are not represented. And
The point is
DEI was the
this:
thing that gave
no
us
matter
representation, and we don't
how,
have it.
no matter how many black people are paid to be in charge, the children still suffer. How's that sound? No matter how much DEI you have, they still can't read to a certain level on the international scale, competing with other students around the globe. So,
That's not
what are we
true.
doing here?
That's not true. Those are Trump points, but the statistics don't agree.
Well, tell me how much wonderful DEI is for the black people and the black children.
Well, I believe we've gone over this. For instance, it might help
Mike,
black girls go to school because we might need help trying to better ourselves, and grant money is the way that we are able to get through
and,
school.
and then black boys can literally come steal a ball from all of them and play in their same sports, right? Is that the we're talking about DEI? That's the progress we want. Black boys to be in black girls sports and track meet and all that good stuff. So that's the DEI.
So then you can reform DEI without pulling it from everybody. That was the excuse to take it from everyone.
Now it's everyone. What happened to the black people? I thought it was just the black
We
people.
are part. We're a big part of that.
DEI means
Everyone,
black, right?
right? It was a big. We're a big part of the everyone. You can't have it one way or
No,
the
we're
other. You're
not. We're
trying to
only
make it.
14% of the population, my guy. Black people are only 14, 13 point, whatever. I'll say 14 to be kind. 14% of the population. So what is this DEI going to do that helps us, for example, as opposed to the other EI as well, or the D? Why does DEI mean black? Why does disadvantage mean black? Why does low economic mean black? That doesn't
Because we
compute.
are disadvantaged. You want to try and get
Oh,
into
no,
Trump's
we're
White
not.
House? Be a
Oh
lot easier if you was white.
Oh my God. Long story short, DEI does not mean black. And we have to
It
say
doesn't mean black, but we're included in that. So we're not going to help something that we're included in because it's not just about us. That's stupid.
because we don't get the full advantage. Let the people that get the full advantage fight, scream, and
Let
kick.
all of us come together and
No,
fight.
no,
Why
no,
we
no,
got?
no. Why do you got to put the black face on it? There's a reason you have to put a black face on it. Understand? That's what I'm trying to say. Who cares?
Okay, and what is your reason for putting the black face on it?
My reason is this, that calling out how the black face, especially the black woman, is used to promote other agendas and help other peoples other than the black ones, that the black face on the surface actually is promoted to help. Understand? So that way the white woman and the Asians benefit from having an initiative with a black face on it, like this. Let's say this is the black face of this project, but it's Asian owned from Africa with the Asian factory. So we all think it's helping the black people because we're buying it. But surprise, surprise, the Asians are getting all the money. And that's why DEI is dangerous. On top of that, DEI makes the black people think, hey, you don't have to worry about working hard. You have a job waiting for you, guaranteed by law, or your grades are guaranteed by law because we have to promote you based on age, not on grade. So remember that phrase, social promotion? That's a part of DEI's agenda. It's, how can I say, enabling us to our demise.
So, in your opinion, we should let DEI go because other people benefit as well. Later, for the fact that we benefit, but because we're such a small part of the population, we shouldn't have any laws put into place that actually benefit the minorities, like everybody. And we should just let that go and let it be all white males.
No, I'm saying
That's what you're
if
saying.
they,
Those are the
no, no, no.
options. There's no third option on the
The
table.
option is this. If DI is just like affirmative action, if black people are so upset about it, let them be upset about it. But my argument is this. Let the people that benefit the most be the face of this fight and put the gloves on and fight it. Leave our name out of it and just let us reap the rewards as it is. Because everybody else's name is
We're
the
the reason it's there in the first place. Now leave us out of it?
yes,
Really?
exactly. Our black face, like on this
No, it's not
antenna.
our black faces the reason we want it. We made that happen. We made that happen.
Okay, we
Nobody
work for it.
else, we made that happen. Now you're like, just walk away from it because other people are involved.
Because it doesn't work for us.
Ah, see, now you're saying a lie. It doesn't work for us, it's not true. Again, just look at the grants for college. We don't have to talk about all of the other positive things it does, gives us opportunities for promotion and all of that. Just look at the grants.
So how come if DI is so great for the past 4 years when DI went hard body, we don't what do we have to show for it?
Look what's happening now that it's
Black,
taken
the
away.
black woman is still the most educated creature in the known American universe. Is she on top of the world? The answer is no.
She doesn't have to be on top of the world. She
That's
they can
not
make a
Donald
good.
Trump's
It's not
fault.
about being on top of the world. It's about being able to make a good life for yourself, and that's what's being taken away. It's not being the top. It's being able to have a decent life. Not being able to go to
Poverty,
school takes away
poverty,
possibilities from you.
poverty, and homelessness is up. From the past 4 years, it went up. How's that possible? Such DEI initiatives in progress
Up for who?
for Black people. So you're saying that DEI was so great, it's to help us, but actuality, when it got implemented and kept pushing down everybody's throats, our conditions got worse. Isn't that interesting? I
That's
don't
not
want to get
true.
COVID.
That's not true.
All right, well, tell me how great DEI is. If it's so great, how come Kamala Harris is not in DEI? How come she's not probably in DEI hire? Huh? She said, hey, I'm proof that DEI works. Why can't she say that?
Maybe she wasn't a DEI hire.
Well, guess what? Where's the Black person to say, hey, DEI is why I'm
Because most people that get hired for DEI don't know that that the reason they got hired was DEI. They don't hire you and be like, "Congratulations, you're in because of DEI." They use DEI and fill a quota. You don't know that you're part of the quota. That's how DEI works. That's how it works. What are you laughing about? That's how it works. You ever work in a department where you had to hire people to meet a quota? I have.
Oh
You don't
God.
tell the people that got hired for the quota. That's why they got hired. That's not how it works. That's silly. And that's the end of that. How about the fact that I know you're going to love this? $59 million was cut out of hotels for immigrants in New York City.
Beautiful. Now it could be a hotel again. Get some tourism up, right?
I don't know about that. I don't think one has anything to do with the other. I don't think tourism is going to be on the upswing based on the boycotting of America and isolationism and all of that. $45 million in diversity, equity, inclusion grants in Vermont were taken away.
Thank God. Whew.
So inclusion grants, who is being included? 45 million. Who do you think was being included? If even 5% of that was black people, that's 10, 15,000 black people that just lost their grant money. And you're cheering for that. Sounds MAGA.
I still don't see the correlation. Why does DEI have to mean black? I don't understand that.
But we are part of it. We started it. We're a part of it.
But we don't get anything out of it. I understand. But if you want to die for DEI, you die for DEI. That's why I say, everybody, if you want to die, if you want to be black and proud to die for DEI, then die for DEI. I'm not going to say, like a lot of black people on this side and in between, it's like, hey, you took away our affirmative action and we didn't burn the country down. We're not protesting anymore. We're done. Black fatigue. We don't have an episode about black fatigue. We just don't care anymore. Yes, put that on to do, Leo. Black fatigue. It can mean so many things.
I can't get a hard number.
That's a shame. You need a blue pill or a red pill to get that
Well, it
hard.
says 4% of DEI positions. 4%. So it helped us get 4% of leadership positions, according to your friend AI.
Which one? Gemini, Chat GPT.
Gemini. And according to Black Enterprise, and they're not, and this is not a good thing, it says only comprise 4%. So they're complaining about it. So if they're complaining about 4%, it's probably at least 4%. Because they're looking at 4% as a negative, not trying to push the number up. That means at best they're pushing the number down. So it's at least 4%.
So is it Donald Trump? Donald Trump's fault those numbers happen in his what 3, 4 months now, or is the previous administration 4 years of pushing that Kool-Aid? Is it their fault? It's not working for us. Whose fault is it?
It's not about what's working for us, it's about taking it away from the people that it is.
God. Okay, well, I don't know what else to say, but hopefully the viewers see where I'm coming from.
You're taking away DEI from people who will otherwise not get that opportunity. And that's what DEI is. It's equity, inclusion. Include us. Give us the opportunity.
Yikes.
Include us. No, we're not including you no more. That's what he said. That's what the bill is. $2 billion for Stacey Adams' environmental program. seems that a lot of money was going into the environmental program. $2 billion being taken away from the environmental program. Is that
Because
because science isn't
environmental
real?
justice, no, because the environment, even Kennedy said himself, environmental injustice mutated into a multi-million dollar, billion dollar industry to nowhere. Bridge to nowhere. Ever heard that term? Well, this is a bridge to nowhere. Get it?
So even though climate change is obviously real, even though, so you don't believe in climate change now?
The way that it's making money for other people? No.
That's not what I asked you. Do you believe in climate change?
Historically, yes. The polar ice caps melted and the dinosaurs were flooded out, right? Or the comet hit Earth. What's the hypothesis this time?
Oh, I see. So the pollution has nothing to do with it. Pollution doesn't affect the earth and humankind.
Well, again, America's pollution is small in comparison to China. So take it away. Why don't you ask China?
Well,
Remember that?
China and their initiative with the summit that I said earlier, one of the biggest things in there outside of de-dollarization and building a community outside of America, one of their other big things is building environmental friendly energy. That is a big part of their initiative. So if under them circumstances, being that that's what China is doing, it would appear that saying that they're not working toward eco-friendly sustainability is, what is the word? Propaganda. And the propaganda is because Trump wants to be able to pollute at will because his friends that are putting money in his pocket, the people surrounding him, the people that don't need DEI to sit at his chair worth billions of dollars, putting money in his pocket, wants to be
This
able to
sounds
pollute to
completely
make money.
unbiased, right? That's a completely unbiased rant. Keep going.
I, I listen. I gave Trump
None of
his
that could
props
be
on.
true. That could be all that's just speculation. It's been the friends, blah, blah. What about the Democratic donors, huh? The one that control the Democratic elections, not the voters. How about those people? Those are the people that line people's pockets, the Democratic donors. Remember Jasmine Crockett? The donors have told us that they want a candidate that's squeaky clean, which means white. So that sounds like. But is Donald Trump really making money from this whole situation?
Yes. You think he's not making money? You believe? I can't believe this. Wow.
If he was
You
making
honestly
money,
believe he's not making money from
if
this?
he was making money, don't you think they would prove it by now?
What are you talking about? He literally. Oh my! I think my head just exploded for a moment. Wow. He literally just had last week dinner with people that paid the most money for his coin. What do you? What?
Well,
Wow.
the argument people have is that
Wow.
Donald Trump was a celebrity
Wow.
before this. And if you're making this argument, you have to look at all the money that he's lost in this situation as well. Like Elon Musk took a big L financially, helping out America become
Not
great.
according to Elon Musk. According to Elon Musk, the money he lost on the left was given to him by the right. So either he's lying. Oh wow, Elon Musk lying. I can't imagine that being true. Anyway, so no, that's not a fact. Unless you're going against Trump and Elon Musk and what they said. But so you're saying that he's not making money because he lost money before. So the fact that he's making money doesn't make up for the fact that he's making. What are you saying?
I'm saying that, listen, Trump is going to be Trump. And all these things that you make him out to be and beyond, most of which is not true. It's just speculation. There's no hard
He's
fact.
making money. That is hardcore evidence. People coming to spend money to come stay in Trump Plaza or Trump Hotel or Mar-a-Lago, whatever it is,
He
to be able
was
to
a
talk to him.
celebrity
These are
before
facts. These
this.
are not questionable.
This has
This
always
isn't
existed.
speculation. These are facts.
This has always existed. The fact that he's a
No,
brand
no, but you said he
became
wasn't making money. The fact is he's making money. That's what it is. Like nothing you're saying is going to change that. Now I'm gonna shut up and let you talk.
well, the thing is, yes, let's say he is making money. The point is this man is a brand. Before he came into the White House, he was already in a situation where his name being said repeatedly on loop was going to make him money regardless. Like when Bloomberg came to power as mayor of New York, he came in as a brand. So the more the radio media says his name, his stock prices will be affected. So he's going to make money regardless. But is he going out of his way? Is he actually manipulating the government system and structure to make money? That,
Yes.
ooh, go ahead.
Yes. What are you
So
talking about?
let me ask you a question. Did he create the Trump coin while he was president?
This is a good time to buy stocks. What are you talking about?
No, no,
What are
no.
you talking about?
Did he invent the Trump coin while he was president?
No, he just made it more profitable while he was there. And he told people when to buy stocks. So you think he didn't take advantage? Come on, man. You sound crazy.
Where's
You
the
made
investigation?
$1 million and you made $2 million.
Where's the impeachment paperwork, huh? If this is so egregious, where's the impeachment paperwork?
They're waiting to file it at a smart time. We've had this conversation multiple times.
Now it looks like the Democrats are playing politics.
Wow, Democrats playing politics. That's new. So this is the same guy who's trying to convince people that the airplanes are falling out of the sky because the previous administration had the airlines bringing billions of dollars of new computers and wire doesn't hook up the copper.
Okay. What can be said? You
That
know?
is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I mean, and
That's just
like
something true.
that is somebody who knows he can just say anything enough times and people will believe it.
Actually,
But
no. He knows he can say things enough times for people to react the way that he needs them to react to
I
perpetuate.
said believe it, right? We said the same thing.
Okay.
So here's how electricity works, right? If something's an insulator, electricity doesn't flow through. If something is a conductor, electricity flows through. I don't care what the material is. If it is a conductor, electricity flows. You don't believe me? Drop a toaster oven into water. These are two completely different materials. I bet you won't get in the tub. Copper and wire. What kind of wire? What kind of wire are they trying to connect to copper? When have they ever used copper to build? What is he talking about? The things he is saying don't make any sense. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I've been able to build computers since I was like 10. It's not true. The only way it doesn't electricity is going to flow through a conductor. If you take a gold chain and it's 24 karat gold and hook it up to copper, you're going to get shocked if you touch that gold chain because I don't care if it's gold and copper, it's a conductor. It's going to flow. And I use gold because it happens to be a very good conductor. Silver is a very good conductor. What he said is a lie. Period. Then this will go. It's a lie. You know that was Trump being Trump, repeating a lie over and over again because he knows that the American populace doesn't have enough information to be able to see through the lie.
We have plenty of information, my friend. It's just
Did you
that,
believe the wire to copper thing before I just explained it to you?
well, for me personally, as a Trump MAGA person, my mind is made up about one thing, which is so far to this point, I do not regret my vote for this man. No matter how much you say he's a liar, no matter how much you're saying he's destroying the country, I don't have buyer's remorse. And that's the fact of the matter.
That's very MAGA. You're on one side or the other, and the facts won't change that. I understand that.
Well, not just that, what other options do I have that are better? How about that?
Well, that's a big problem. That's a huge problem. I don't have
Huge.
an answer.
Good. And until you find one, it's MAGA all the way.
Well, the appeals court denied Trump to continue mass firings.
Okay.
So Doge was no more. Judge Edward E. Chin, an Obama appointee, said Friday the White House would have to uphold the TPS extension granted by former Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Did I write that right? So, temporary protective status, TPS. And they said that the White House has to uphold the Venezuelans that were being that Trump was trying to deport that had temporary protective status. Do you think that the judges was following the rule of the law?
Well, what is this the Supreme Court or is this a lower court?
Supreme.
I gotta see
Federal.
this.
Well, I can't say Supreme. It's federal. I'm assuming that's Supreme, but I could be wrong.
All right, so let me look this one up now on Microsoft Bing because I don't trust anything else at this point online for search engines. You're saying that the court struck down. I'm just gonna put court struck. Let's see what happened. Struck down. Let's see what.
Well, I mean, he lost like 96% of his cases, so you might have to go a little harder than that. He lost like an unbelievable reported by Midas, which is a left wing. So they might overstate, but their numbers are generally accurate. Midas said that he lost about 96% of his court cases. They might have overstated. Disclaimer. But I did get
Yeah,
the
according
information from
to
the Midas stuff
Forbes,
number.
Supreme Court lets Trump administration revoke 500,000. Now let's see. Yeah, this is the one. Supreme Court lets Trump administration revoke 500,000. Oh yeah, so 72 vote. There you go. So that's the last one I see here about TPS.
He's a district judge. Senior district judge Edward M. Chen. He's a district judge. He's not a Supreme Court justice.
Well, it looks like the Supreme Court, 72, said nah. Ketanji Brown Jackson says it was botch like a bad wrestler's finisher.
Well, this was Friday, so they probably haven't said anything about this yet.
2 days ago, that's what the Supreme Court did, according to Forbes.
On March 31st, Judge Edward Chin of the Circuit District issued a decision in the National TPS Alliance versus Noam litigation ordering a temporary halt. So I don't think they've done anything since then. Could be wrong. I think that's the last thing that happened. So you think the Supreme Court is just going to come back and say, stop it? I agree with you, actually. They probably will. But he's been stopped by another district court.
A lower court, we'll see. Supreme Court has the final say, right?
Well, I mean,
Excuse me while
obviously the
I work
deportation
this
seem to be
out.
working.
And
It
bam.
appears, according to Miss Levitt, thousands of people have self-deported already.
Isn't that great?
Well, I've heard ICE being referred to as Trump's Gestapo.
Here we go with the Hitler, Nazi, Nazi, Nazi.
Not my turn, but okay. So what's the difference between ICE and the Gestapo?
Well, ICE has a federal mandate by the American voter in November to deport and secure our border. So forth, that's what it is. Donald
I
Trump.
asked the difference between ICE and Gestapo. You didn't give me one yet.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just say this. Gestapo was actually implemented by and created by a dictator, whereas ICE is an agency that was there for decades.
Can't argue that. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning about revoking visas. This is from China. Such a
China.
politicized and discriminatory move lays bare the U.S. lie behind the so-called freedom and openness that the U.S. touts. She's saying that revoking the visas says the U.S. is full of it when we say we're a free country. What do you have to say about the foreign minister Mao Ning's theory on American honesty under the Trump
Now, all of a
administration?
sudden, so now all of a sudden, the commies want democracy. Well, how about this? Let some of our students over there in China, and you pay for it. How's that sound? Oh, wait, better yet, how about China open its borders so that way more people from over the world could come and be Chinese citizens? You know, if me or your black asses were born in China, we're not Chinese citizens. Did you know that, Leo? If we were born in China right now, dropped out of my mother's womb. We don't have citizenship automatically, but here in America, it's a different story. Isn't that interesting? So now they are better than, they're holier than thou. Isn't that interesting? Why do we support and trust China so much and want them to be in a positive light and our president in a negative light? I don't
I
know.
can't disagree with anything you just said.
Keep it
I,
moving,
I
right?
happen to agree with you. You're right.
You don't
Like,
want
yo, word. So, because the people that are supposed to be being looked at are people that are big Chinese communist supporters. Like, oh, I can't disagree with that. Like, no, why would America want to have your people in here spying on us? No, that doesn't rock. I agree with you.
to.
When you're right, you're right.
We're gonna have to
Tariffs
actually.
to be determined for Russia's originally and de-dollarization. What is that? Oh, right. Originally, tariffs, Trump's tariffs had the 100% tariff on every country that was trying to de-dollarize and on Russia because of sanctions. And now he's trying to put tariffs on everybody anyway. So it makes, and I had this on before I found out earlier about the summit. So it makes the U.S. de-dollarize attempt to block de-dollarization using tariffs weaker. Countries are gonna be like, you're taxing us anyway, so we really want to get away. And that was my thinking. That was going to happen. I was going to ask, do you think that they're going to try and come together and de-dollarize again? But before I could even get it out, now there's a summit. So I guess I was right. So there's no reason for that. It's already happened. I was late reporting it, but my theory was unfortunately excellent. FBI held on to the laptop for elections. This would be about Hunter Biden again.
Who?
Hunter Biden.
He's
The
pre-recording, so
FBI,
we can't talk
apparently,
about it.
according to I think it's Cash Patel, held on to the laptops about Hunter Biden's laptops till after the election.
Mhm.
Wow.
No surprise. Looks like once again, Donald Trump and the family were right.
It does.
Tell us why, Leo. I want to hear from you. I already knew back then, but here we go now. Because at first I was skeptical when I first joined this whole realm. Like, yeah, well, if the kid's his son, who gives hairs? But then when these people are like, all right, Dion, information, facts, alternative media. Here's that. You know what? Fuck it, Dion. Here's the actual damn tape of him smoking crack with these whores. Oh wow, Hunter's my kind of guy, doggy. And so there you have it. So I want to hear from you, Leo, why this is a bad thing and why is Uncle Trump right, looking in a good light, hopefully.
Well, apparently Hunter Biden was getting down with the get down as bad as it gets. I wouldn't say as bad as Puffy, but pretty bad. He's the type of guy that Trump would pardon. So
He's the type of guy Trump would pardon, but
if
would
he
not.
wasn't related to Biden,
Hold it. It's the type of guy Trump would pardon, but would not pre-pardon. There's a difference. There's
facts.
come and there's pre-come. No diddy, no doubt.
Uh, that boy Diddy getting it on this one, huh? Stay out the news, boy. All right, so Trump keeps repeating another lie, and this one's a big one. This is important.
Why can't we
He's
talk more about
trying.
Hunter Biden's laptop, Leo? Why you
Oh,
why
the laptop.
not?
Well, I, he was committing all these crimes, and the American people was paying for it, and then he got pardoned,
Pre-pardoned. No. Pre-pardoned. His link to his business dealings in Ukraine, selling
and the
information.
FBI was covering him up. Don't forget that.
And so it's a good thing that Cash Patel and Dan Bongino are cleaning house, right? And the FBI, a lot of people need to get fired like that. So I don't want to hear no boo-hoo whining and crying about
We
working.
also fired anybody who investigated the January 6th who raided the Capitol and killed cops. So, you know,
That is not true at all.
neither side is
That
making
is
me
not true
happy.
at all. And
That is
even
actually out of Cash
let
Patel's
me let
mouth.
me let me tell you what they covered up. And even in Nancy Pelosi's daughter's documentary, we both like documentaries. Even she was caught on tape saying it was her fault because Donald Trump said, "Hey, Nancy Pelosi, I think things might get out of hand. Some troops, no. Hey, Mayor Bowser Cooper from DC, here's some troops. Nah, you're racist. Get out of here. All right. And kablooey. You know what, guys? Peace, free, but Cube pulled the plug on all his social media before the man finished speaking. So that's it. Kind of interesting how that works, right?
Well, according to Bill Maher, who went to his house and had dinner with him and chilled out with him and, kicked it with him and said he wasn't a bad guy. He actually laughs, kind of like he used to before he was running for office, like he was a normal guy.
Mhm.
According to Bill Maher, he even admitted he knew the election wasn't stolen. That means when he told them people that the election was stolen that caused the riot, he was lying and causing insurrection. But that's just splitting hairs, right?
Yes, because if the FBI would have let the laptops come out the time they should have, don't you think the results might have been just a bit different? Just like they say Russia helped Donald Trump steal the election because they were letting all this disinformation, misinformation about Hillary Clinton and her emails come out. Isn't that interesting how that works historically?
It doesn't seem to be incorrect.
Ooh. How it pains you to say that.
There's the other side of it where I don't
Donald
know
Trump,
that.
Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Doesn't confuse. Donald Trump can't be right. Donald Trump.
No, I mean, no, it just Russia did help him. So Russia absolutely helped him.
But the point is, did Donald Trump tell them to help him? That's the point of the impeachment. If Donald Trump colluded with Russia, so they kept claiming, then that's what the bad part was. But seeing as though Donald Trump didn't do anything, he didn't even want to win. He was just trolling like I would, and he felt ass backwards thanks to Russia. Then hey, you should take it up with Russia and not blame Donald Trump, don't you think?
Why would Russia help Donald Trump? Why would they want Donald Trump to win?
Well, just like we interfere in a lot of elections around the world, just because they hate Hillary Clinton, because she's evil.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
information will come out eventually, hopefully. We'll see under Trump's administration, but yes. It'll be easier to deal with Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton. Russia knows that. And that's a good thing because once Trump was elected, we had 4 years of peace, and that all this back and forth with Russia's our whole enemy in life, like the previous administration for eight
Oh
years.
yes, because Russia's a lot better now that Trump's in office.
Well, during the first time, yes, for 4 years we were cool. But then when the Democrats got back behind the wheel, that's when Russia became the evil enemy it is today. And now Trump is trying to smooth things down. But now, man, Putin's adrenaline's pushing. Adrenaline's pumping. He's in a fight right now. Nah, fuck Trump. Nah, man. It's like when you see your friend fighting before everybody's cool, chill. But once he's in the heat, in the fight, he's like, yo, chill. Nah, I'm not chilling. I'm chilling. Nah, back off off me. And that's what's happening. Now, if you just let Trump and Putin be buddy buddy, that would have never happened. But seeing for 4 years, what about the war with Ukraine was, and we kept amping up the enemy, which is Ukraine, the racist alt-right Ukraine, then that's what happened. Putin is just amped up over adrenaline right now. Too many people died. Trump, I'm not trying to hear that. Trump, I'm not trying to hear that. That's how it's playing out in those international streets, in my opinion.
And in my opinion, Ukraine was always going to get attacked by Russia like they've always been. And
Why they ain't tackling the
historically,
Trumps? That was the perfect time. Now that we made Trump win, Boris and Natasha, now it's time to strike. Why did that happen for 4 years? That makes no sense.
it does make sense. It's timing. It wasn't ready to happen at that point. You
What?
think if okay, let me say it like this.
Say like this.
If Trump can't stop Putin now, why was he able to stop him before and not now?
Because before, Putin and the rest of the world didn't know how Trump was going to react to do anything. And Trump was just too diplomatic. And for 4 years, we had nothing but open in-person dialogue across the board. And that was peace because it was good for business. Remember, Trump was making all his money allegedly, so wars aren't in his best interest. However, the military industrial complex can't have that. You know what I mean? So once Sleepy Joe Biden got into office, then it all hit the fan. The border flew open. The president of Haiti was miraculously assassinated. And then next thing you know, Russia invaded Ukraine. And then Afghanistan, they pulled out Afghanistan too soon because Trump squashed that and everything went disarray because Biden came to office. But find out it wasn't just Joe Biden, it was all the people around him, his handlers, letting all his flies. He's like,
Well, can't argue that. Don't know what was really happening. The man was sick. There was obviously something wrong. So I don't know who was doing what. Something's wrong. And I don't trust that we'll get to the bottom of it with Trump in office. I don't trust we'll ever get to the bottom of it. I don't think anybody's ever going to let the public know the truth. If you think that Trump is going to tell you the truth, then that's you. If you think anybody else is going to tell you any more of the truth, it's the same exact thing. You're wilding. No way. We're never going to find out. Maybe 50 years from now, somebody will do a documentary and it'll come out, but Trump's not going to tell us what happened. He's going to tell us anything that's going to benefit himself. You can't trust anything that comes out of his
Especially
mouth. Like,
about Dr. Fauci. Yeah, another one that was pre-pardoned. So you have Liz Cheney, January 6th. Nah. You have Joe Biden being covered up as not leading the country by his own recognizance. Nah. But Trump is just going to let Dr. Fauci be out there left in the cold, who was pre-pardoned too. I'm sure everything he said about Dr. Fauci was a lie as well, right? This is me on my desk.
he
Get that?
does. He listen. He does tell the truth sometimes. Listen,
Oh,
nobody's.
clock is right both times a day, right?
No, he no, he listen. You. The problem with Trump is you can't tell a good lie and without some truth in it, right?
Oh God, here we go.
So there's always going to be some truth in the stuff he says, and there's always going to be a lot of BS in the stuff he says. He's a salesman, and if you don't understand how sales work, that's fine. But he's a salesman, so you can't believe anything a used car dealer tells you. That's
Okay.
kind of what it is. That's how sales work. You compliment, you make people feel good, you tell them nice things. You tell them how good they're gonna look in that car, how good America is, how great America is gonna be, how the shiny, how you're gonna be able to go to the beach and all the girls are gonna be looking, how the world's gonna be envious because we're the best in the world, how it was terrible before, how bad everything was before, how you looking at Hoopty. He's a salesman. He's conning people. That's what he does. It's fine. That's what it. If he did anything else, then he would have been a terrible salesman. Deal maker, con man, salesman. So no, you can't believe everything he says. It wouldn't be in his best interest to tell everybody everything. The world can't handle the truth.
Okay.
So, for instance, he's peddling this lie that if the bill doesn't pass, there'll be a tax hike on everyone. That is absurd. How would there be a tax hike? If there's a bill passed, you could pass a bill with a tax hike in it. But if there's no bill, there's no tax hike. So why is he telling people if the bill isn't passed, there's a tax hike? What is he like? What?
Well,
If there's no bill, there's no tax hike. What is he
well,
talking about?
maybe he's talking about that the previous bill's terms will just be extended. Remember, Trump's tax cuts for the rich were extended. Remember that? If there's no
No,
bill to
they're
alter it,
not.
then maybe
This
that's not
bill is
happening.
what's supposed to extend them. That's the big reason he's trying to pass the bill to extend the tax cuts for the rich. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Exactly the way I feel about the entire scenario you just put up to me. What does that have to do with anything?
Is lying to everybody about this bill
That's in the
not
Senate.
passing. And
That's in the Senate. Remember, Dion said it was what? Going from the House, that big beautiful bill that you said was so horrible and destroy the world, is now what? In the Senate. So let's see what.
yes, and they're going to the Senate reconvenes this week to discuss it
So then why should I be scared? Or concerned for that matter? If we're just following procedures here at this point.
because of what's in the bill. I think that might be the primary source of concern.
Still
What's
hasn't
actually
passed
in
yet.
the bill.
It still hasn't passed yet. Why? Because it's in the Senate. And what's the next step after that, Leo? Once it leaves the Senate chamber, what's the next step?
Well, the man who went to the House to get it passed when the House didn't want to pass it is going to get it on his desk, and he's sitting there working with the Senate right now on it. He's probably going to sign his name to it, being he's working so hard to get it passed. I would assume
But doesn't he have another option? What's the other option, Leo?
to not sign the bill that he's busting his behind, working day and night to get passed.
If he doesn't get what he wants, he can always do what? It's called veto. That's what it's called. And then the two parties down there in the House and the Senate, they have to override the
Why
veto.
would he not sign a bill he's pushing everybody to pass? I
If,
don't even understand the comments. I don't understand this conversation.
I'm just telling you the procedure, Leo, so you don't have to get
Okay,
so.
that's the procedure, but then there's I thought your party was I thought you said you had a ton of common sense. The common sense thing is he's pushing this bill because he wants to pass it. So discussing veto on a bill he's pushing doesn't sound very common sense to me.
No, I'm just talking about the options that's going on right now procedurally because I'm trying to educate and inform, whereas you are trying to persuade. There's a difference in our methodology when it comes to journalism.
I am stating the facts. I'm not trying to
What?
persuade. The facts are he's pushing this bill to be passed. You're talking about, well, he could always veto it, but why are we discussing veto on a bill that he is working to get passed? He literally went to the House and made them change their votes. Why are we talking about vetoing the bill? That sounds crazy. He's in the Senate right now working because the Senate, some people want more, some people want less, and he's in there negotiating with them right now. So if it passes because he pushed it. Now the bill he pushed it, talking about, oh well, he could always veto it. It sounds like it doesn't make any sense to bring that up. I don't know. I don't even understand why we're talking about it.
Me neither. That's why I'm here to do it. But
I'm talking about what's in the bill. You're talking about, oh well, we could veto it, and I'm like, why would we be discussing veto? I'm talking about what's in the bill. You're the one who brought vetoing up, and I said that he probably won't veto a bill he's pushing. That's how we got to this point in the conversation. Anyway, I I digress. He's fighting the judge's injunctions about tariffs. There was an injunction about him being able to put uniform tariffs across everybody, that 10% tax, I'm assuming the 10% tariff. And now there was an injunction. He went and they blocked the injunction that very same day. And then those across the board tariffs came back the very same day. So now it's going all the way up to the Supreme Court, but it's a temporary stay on the injunction. And in English, what that means is that the judge put an injunction. That means they made a decision. And that decision was that he can't place some tariffs. There was a stay on it, which means that they blocked the injunction. And in English, they said, nah, right now, until the Supreme Court makes a decision, you can leave the tariffs in place. So the tariffs are there temporarily based on the stay until the Supreme Court makes a decision on it. I don't know. How do you feel about all of that, or do you even care? MAGA's like, we don't care about all that. Just do your thing, Trump.
let him rock out until wheels fall off, but not with his out. Get it?
So mumbo jumbo about economics doesn't concern us. We don't understand it.
No buyer's remorse here. The only thing that concerns me personally is Dion getting involved in the whole action. Now, mind you, student loan forgiveness hurt me as well, where my student loans reappeared magically. Sure, but do I have buyer's remorse? The answer is no. So that's one thing I didn't like about the whole game, and there's some other things I don't like. But overall aspect, we're supporting the president of the United States. We have growing pains, and that's about it.
Well, Trump takes credit for Gaza aid.
Okay. Netanyahu was
They've
out
been trying to
competing.
get them trucks through, and maybe he should take credit for that. His team been pushing to get them trucks through. So basically, because Israel was like, nah, we're gonna let them kids starve.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's literally what they were saying. They literally was like, we don't care that kids are starving. And Trump had his man down there working to get them aid, and it finally got through. You had kids starving and adults starving as it was put by Trump's aid, and they finally got starting to get after thousands of children starved to death, which is horrible. I'm quoting Trump's people, like this is Trump's people, these are your people. You know, it,
Well,
I mean, and
again, just like the war in Ukraine, war sucks. Netanyahu and the Israel Zionist pro-Palestine people, they're all there doing their thing. Now, mind you, Netanyahu's not happy that Trump has not let him go far enough with the resources he needs. Even you're tired of this. The American people are tired. Eventually, the yawning is still catching. That psychological effect, whatever it's called. So there you go.
I mean, the aid wasn't just coming from the United States. It's coming from all over the world. The things happening are deplorable. I'm not sure if you're aware of just how bad it is. I mean, starving to death is a slow, painful death. And to force children to go through that, I believe it's a war crime.
Again, America first, defund Israel is on the same list of all the other countries that need to be defunded because Israel, as you can see, I won't use the word bully, but they have the upper hand in this war. And if America would just say, hey, we're not with this, we're out, poof. That's it. Not doing anything else, sanctions, nothing like that. This poof, we're just gonna do our thing over here. Israel, do whatever you need to do over there. We're just gonna be over here and let the rest of the world figure it out. That's one thing that I would say maybe should happen. But unfortunately,
I would agree with that. That would be good. But no, the
that's
United
it.
States is going to support
Now, for the
that
United States
type of
to,
people.
well, if the United States backs Palestine with this and pushes back against Israel, that's another situation, because some people want the United
They're
States.
not. They don't have to do that, but aid, and I credit Trump for it, giving, not letting children starve to death. I don't know. I don't know if you feel the same way, but that's horrible.
Mhm.
So you're saying that the United States should just pull out of all the wars altogether?
Yep,
But doesn't what happens to building Trump Plaza on the Gaza Strip? I don't think that's going to happen. He's not pulling out. He
that's what.
already said what his plans are.
No, did he?
So, Maha science did actually fail, and so they want to use alternate science.
What's ultimate
Guess
science?
what? They're saying that they believe, didn't see this coming. You ready for it? That vaccinations might be the cause of autism. Here's an alternate theory of what might have caused autism.
What?
Back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when kids were young, or when adults were kids, I should say, and you had the classroom that only had one or two kids in it because those one or two kids were behaviorally challenged, and we didn't have names for it back then. These were kids that were experiencing autism, and we didn't know how to address it. We didn't have the technology to brain scan and see that that was the problem. We just called them names, put a dunce hat on them, stuck them in the corner of the room. And if you start counting all of those numbers in and say, well, maybe all these kids that were there and that's just Uncle Tommy. He's just like that. All of these people that were there all along that we didn't have a name for, and now we have science, something that I know is difficult for some MAGA people. And we can brain scan and say, oh, wait, look, this part of the brain is damaged. It's autism. Now that we have science and the definition of the autism has changed, there was, Asperger's, which wasn't autism, but it's close to it.
Retardation. Remember that?
I'm sorry.
Retardation.
Yes, I was going to
Asperger's,
bring that one up next.
retardation. What else is on the spectrum of that? The whole mantra. But the thing is, Leo, that still doesn't negate the fact of what is the root cause.
Well, here's the thing. The numbers that they're utilizing to state that autism has increased doesn't take into account all of the other things like what you said, retardation, Asperger's, that were that are now considered autism. If you take those numbers from back then and add them to the autism count at that time, then the numbers are not that different. So you can't say, well, the numbers increased because the numbers are the same. You just sectioned it off differently. Like, saying that the black people in the United States is only 14%, while white people's like 60%. But, you count Scottish, English, and Spaniards all as white, but you count Caribbeans and Africans as Caribbeans and Africans, and people that are born in this country as blacks. Yes, then in that case, we're only 14%, while white people outnumber us tremendously. But that's if you combine the entire group versus segregate the entire group the way they do us on the census. I know that was above some people's heads.
Okay.
So, with that being said, the numbers that they're giving are not real numbers back then because the autism spectrum was segregated into retardation, Asperger's, and there's one or two other things. If you combine all those things like they do now, then the numbers are not that different. There wasn't a significant increase in the amount of autism since vaccination started. It's not true. So the science doesn't work. Now you worked with Maha with that information. You seem to have had some of that information. You yourself brought up retardation. What is your outlook on that?
My outlook is this from the Maha side of the MAGA side, which is the Mahaga side, if we add all the letters together, is that
What is that? Make America healthy and great again?
yes, the
He
people,
coined it. That's his term. He
right.
coined it.
The
I'm
thing
sorry.
is,
Okay.
once again, there's a term that we have on this side that's not utilized on that side, which is called vaccine injury. Do you know what vaccine injury is?
What is vaccine injury?
I knew that's why I knew when I used to work at Hostos. I had a guy I used to work with, his daughter got the flu vaccine and she died because vaccines aren't 100% of anything. If you think about it, or what you should have been taught, is that vaccines have something called a dead virus in it or weak
That's
virus
true.
to make sure that your body's immunity, natural immunity, remember that phrase? With the white blood cells and the antibodies get built up such enough, your body should be resistant to that virus. I mean, that's what biology and science was taught back in my day. I can't say it was taught now.
That's not
And
exactly how it operates, but that is what was used to be taught. That's not exactly how it works, but it's close enough.
but then again, on top of that, in order to design a vaccine, you need something called a placebo, right, Leo? Because a placebo will be injected into a control group, and the vaccine will be injected to a non-control group to see what works back and forth. Long story short, what we're saying with vaccine injury is that when you take a vaccine, there's a chance that it can have adverse effects to your body and immunity and make it all out of whack because one vaccine doesn't fit
That's
all.
true.
The next thing is that vaccines, according to these people, have, in order to preserve them long term, have mercury in them and other products. So, like, wait a minute, if you're injecting these things that have mercury in it on top of the vaccine to have make sure the vaccine stays long term in the freezer, mercury actually causes adverse brain activity. So we're thinking
Yes,
if you're injecting mercury into babies to prevent measles, mumps, and rubella on the vaccine schedule, then that may long term have negative effects. But what Kennedy's saying, let's explore it. How come it wasn't explored before with case studies? How come we're just diagnosing all these people and heavily medicating these people and creating a whole billion dollar industry around this one population with this new concept called autism? And on top of that,
new concept.
right, because remember, autism exploded in what, the 90s, the early 2000s, when people that you're saying were just left in the corner somewhere. But no, Kennedy's arguing, well, let's look at the data of when measles, mumps, and rubella were running wild. When they started to calm down because of natural immunity and the vaccines were introduced to schedule, we noticed that also you forgot to mention that, hey, people started realizing with proper diet, nutrition, and exercise, that also taped off mumps, measles, and rubella. Now, we're men of a certain age. We remember when we were kids with the chicken pox. The chicken pox is examples like the mumps and the measles that, hey, when little young kids have it, they only have it once in their lifetime. And then their body builds up enough immunity to not need a vaccine. Isn't that interesting? But no, they said we can't have that. That's an inconvenience. So let's introduce vaccines so these children don't have to catch these horrible diseases. And that's when the autism started to explode. Understand?
So
That's the
you
logic of
presented an
reason.
alternate route of how the numbers might have grown versus the numbers that were already there. I would like you to look at the numbers that all of those diagnoses were combined
Well,
prior to the introduction of the vaccinations.
well, guess what? Then Kanye would say, I would like you to look at the historical records of the Amish and how they don't have any vaccines and what their autism rates are for not having vaccines.
They don't call it autism, but if you believe that the
Well,
Amish
where's
don't
the
have
data?
autism,
Where's the data?
You can't get the data because they don't believe in science. They don't use computers, so you can't scan their brains and tell what's wrong with them.
Uh-uh.
There's no
Case,
that's it.
in a case study with Amish being surveyed, the
How do
autism
you
rate.
survey them? You can't use computers to detect it the way you do on children in, let's say, modern society. How do you detect it in the Amish? The same way you detected it back then when we couldn't look at people and tell that they was wrong because we didn't have the technology?
All I'm saying is this: this is the logic, reasoning, and understanding, and common sense. Because your mother is not a doctor, but your mother can still determine if you're sick or not, right or wrong, and what disease you might have. So now, the Amish again do not have high autism rates and do not have as high vaccine rates. Just like nuns, nuns are prone to have high risk of urinary cancer because they're not having babies and they're having sex. So that's the logic and reason of that. Get it?
I will say this one more time. They can't detect the rate in autism in the Amish because the Amish don't allow the technology to use to detect into their communities. That is 100% fact. You can't go in and turn on a freaking light bulb. You think you could bring a computer in and run brain scans? You can't detect the autism. That's why they don't have it because you can't detect it. That's the reason. They
Well,
don't allow the technology
let's
utilized to
just say
detect
this.
autism into their communities. So no, they don't have it because you can't see it
But
because they
we
don't
can
allow the computers in to look at it.
but we can end here. You can keep taking your vaccines, whereas I'm on a growing community that's not taking vaccines ever again after this whole COVID vaccine debacle. So, and Kenny, on matter of fact, is saying, you know what? I'm gonna leave it as that. I'm gonna let you, Leo, have the right to choose to take vaccines, and you, Dion, have the right not to take vaccines. I'm not gonna blanket mandate it for everybody, and that's what the previous administration did. They
But I told you he
mandated.
was going to find that to be the case back 3 months ago. And I'm like, oh, it's all a show. This is what's going to happen. I told you that's what's going to happen. You're like, no, he's going to do science. And the CDC is like, nah, we can't back him up. He wilding. The CDC is like, we can't say that. He's doing too much. You might want to take your vaccines. That's what the CDC is saying. Take your vaccines. And I told you these were going to be his findings because this is what he wanted to find since he got there. I told you that was going to. I didn't tell you this was going to happen on like 20 different episodes at this point.
I've always harped on the mandates. The vaccines is one thing. I believe, like a lot of people, it causes autism. Fine. We can agree or disagree, but mandating is the deal breaker. We just don't want it mandated on our children, just like gender friendly care and drag queen story hour and boys and girls sports. This needs to be optional, not mandatory.
And that
Interest
means
of
we won't have,
safety.
and that means we won't have herd immunity. Remember the words herd immunity? If you don't mandate it, there's no herd immunity, and it then spread, then diseases spread because you need herd immunity, which is like over, I forget the numbers, over 90% in order to be able to
But guess
make sure
what,
disease doesn't
Leo?
spread in the community.
That's why Kenny's more concerned about the number one cause of death in America. Do you know what that is?
Being black,
Heart disease
I know what it is.
from obesity and diabetes and high blood pressure. That
I'm
epidemic,
not worried about that.
I see you put it down. But yes, that's actually a greater epidemic and plight on the American people than those other diseases.
Now, you know what I got to say about that? You're right. So, moving forward. Yo, listen, you're right. I happen to agree with 200%. 200%. That is definitely something we need to focus on, especially in America. It's crazy.
So everything else Kenny's doing must be good, which is making sure SNAP, aka food stamps,
Hold
doesn't.
on, wait. He gets one thing right, so everything he does is right. What kind of argument is that?
No,
That
no,
is
I'm
a
saying
fallacy.
so far you're choosing one thing, which is the vaccines. That oh my God. But I'm saying, well, he did other things that's actually that outweighs that one thing, which is that focusing on the other chronic illnesses in the book.
Oh
Number
no, there's other
two,
things I agree with. Absolutely. Take out the dyes in the food, please. Take that out, man. Thank God for that. I don't disagree with Kennedy about everything.
yes,
Thank
leave
God he's taking
leave
that
the
stuff
dyes
out.
for the beard. Get it?
I mean, yeah, something that you're not putting into your body that will cause cancer is carcinogen. The definition is causing cancer. Got to get my disclaimer. Thank God he's doing that. That's like, yo, we definitely need some of the stuff he's doing. Anyway, why do we need border security increased if, quote unquote, there's nobody getting in? Like the borders are secure. Why do we need to spend billions of dollars more on border security?
Well, how can I say this? The actually, I don't know. We have to keep sustaining what we got right there. So I
If
guess
what we got is working, why do we got to put billions of dollars more in? Why don't we just maintain what we got? All right, he wants to build a stupid wall, but that's not costing the money he's talking.
I don't know the answer, to be honest with you.
There
Uh,
is none. He's
well,
spending
actually, you
money.
know what? Maybe it's from all the lawsuits that they're incurring. How about that? Maybe that's the
It's
reason.
because he's stealing money. Can't ban. That's really the reason. It is. It really
Yes, the
is.
billionaire Donald Trump wants to steal your money, American people. Be scared.
Yes, because he got to be a billionaire by being an honest man. Can't ban transgenders in the military. The course decided that transgenders are going to be allowed in the military. I don't want your response to that. We've talked about it. Just reporting it. Unfortunately, you know, talking about it's not going to make any changes. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. The courts said Actually, you can give me a take. The court said transgenders can be in the military. What do you feel about that?
I've always been a big supporter, actually, of transgender in the military. I don't know if though I told you that. I said anybody of any ideology, if they're willing to take a bullet for me as an American citizen, I cheer you on. Because if there
I
was a
feel that.
draft, I don't think I'd be down with that. But then again, I always did, as I got older and wiser, say that, just like Japan, military service should be mandatory from 18 to, maybe 19, at least 1 year or 2 years. Because if you think about it, Leo, if people really wanted gender equality, they make everybody at 18 do what? Sign up for the selective service. They only let people that are assigned at birth, males, do that, right? Where's the progressiveness to make it to people that are born and identify as females? Why are we talking about that?
Because women should not be going out to fight to protect me. I don't know about you. That's how I feel.
Again, I don't care who you are or what you're born with between your legs. If you want to take a bullet for Dion, I'm all for it.
So the goal is to find 3,000 immigrants and deport them a day. We haven't quite reached it yet. As a matter of fact, actually, more people are being deported under Biden than are being deported under Trump right now. So as big as his get these immigrants out and all of that, he's not even doing what Biden was doing. It's all a hoax, some might say. How do you feel about that and those numbers?
I need to see him because the deporter in chief was who? And who built the cages, Joe, is who? Barack Hussein Obama.
True. What does that got to do with anything I just said? I don't know, but okay. Educate the people. Now your take on those numbers. You said you got to see them. All right. Israel agreed to have a truce, speaking of which, but no ceasefire is taking place. So what good is having a truce, right?
I don't know. Israel's going to Israel at this point.
They're just like Russia. These guys are going to continue attack. All right.
Well,
Well, what is this? Let's take a look. Might want to look at this. I said tariffs are too high, and you said you was waiting to see proof that the prices were going up. You didn't believe me. You don't believe that prices are really going up and the tariffs are hurting the American people and prices are going up in stores. Do you believe me yet?
I haven't seen it on my end. Maybe because I shop at the Dollar Tree. I don't know. Actually, the Dollar Tree went up to $1.25 under the previous administration. So, think about that. Dollar Tree, everything was a dollar until Joe Biden. Is that true, Leo?
That's true.
That's when I felt the pinch.
Well, look at here. Walmart workers are sharing photos of price hikes of 38% or more, and some prices are up at Target too. 38%.
Hmm.
38%.
Hmm.
I guess the prices are going up. Have you seen it now?
I still don't regret my vote, and I still don't see it for myself because Walmart is not in New York City. I've been to Target in a minute, but I have to go see. Maybe I'll go stop by Target tomorrow. Who knows?
Well, the photos are coming in, the proof is coming in. Trump is talking to people, complaining at businesses that want to show the difference in price. He's wolfing at them. If he's trying to stop them from showing the difference in price, it's because there's a difference in price to show.
Okay. But the American people, we still support Trump more than the Democrats.
Well, he's causing prices to go up way more than the Democrats. He is. There's no question. It's not even a close. It's not even. It's not like there's not been nothing like
Dollar
this in
Tree is
my
still
lifetime.
$1.25. The Dollar Tree is still $1.25 when he came in office, but it was $1 when he left office. Oh, Dollar Tree was $1 when Trump was in office. When he left office, it became $1.25. Now that's the inflation the poor man can take note of.
I've got to double check that. Is that true? In 2021. So as Biden was coming into office, if he was smart, like Donald Trump, he'd say, "Well, I didn't have a chance to do anything yet. That's because of the previous administration." But
What was that?
no,
What
he would
month
say it
was
was.
that?
I mean, he would say it was because of the previous administration. When
What
Biden
month
came
was
in,
that?
I'm sorry,
What was that?
in 2021.
Was that because of the COVID lockdown?
Yes, I was
That
exactly getting ready to go
because
to that.
yeah, so that was Joe Biden's fault, not Donald Trump, who wanted to keep the country open, don't you think?
Can't argue that.
And that's also when the vaccine mandates started coming down.
That's
Well,
not true.
the vaccine mandates came down in 2021, Leo.
What was
Operation
Operation Warp Speed again?
that was the end of 2020. So you couldn't have a vaccine mandate if the vaccines were being mass produced at the end of his term in 2020.
Okay, fair enough.
So 2021, remember we had all those, remember the docks? The ships were just sitting there. Remember that situation? You see, people have a poor memory bank. But yes, that was Joe Biden's fault.
Last time, and now what's happening, and it's not. Check it out. So we didn't say this before. It's not in the app. Buy Elon or not? Because I do believe he said, well, he'll probably be coming back and forth.
Mm.
So
Well,
is Elon really leaving? And if he does, is it going to be a bunch of 25-year-old kids running Doge now?
I don't know. That's what
How
they're
do you
trying to
feel
do.
about it?
Well, I don't know. The thing is, this Elon leaving, coming back and forth has been happening for some time now.
No. His term, he was a special government employee. I reported this 3 months ago. We talked about it. You didn't believe me. I told you there was a term limit to a special government employment. I don't know if you remember, and you didn't believe me. I said that's why he was leaving. You didn't believe me. I pulled up the article. You still didn't believe it because it was coming from the left wing newspapers or something like that. And now him and Trump are saying that it's over because you can only be, I think Elon said 149 days. I forget the exact number. Whatever the number is, his time is up. So he has to leave in his official capacity. However, Doge is still going to be running, and they both said that he's still going to be back and forth as an advisor, so not in an official capacity.
Mhm.
So, how do you feel about the fact that Elon is still going to have sway over everyday life decisions that Trump makes affecting the American people, and that instead that is going to be run by some 25-year-old kid who doesn't know the least thing about America.
I'm okay with it because it's better than what we have now with all the waste, fraud, and spending that doesn't help the American people at all, if not
Like,
hurt them.
let's take an example, like the transgender mouse. What does transgender mean?
The need to identify as whatever sex you identify as yourself, I think.
So
Maybe.
how do you have a transgender mouse? That's not what it means, but no matter what definition it means, it's just a
Well,
lie. It's not
well,
possible, no matter what definition you give it.
Disney has gone woke, so who knows what goes down in the House of Mouse?
Elon Musk saying that he found billions of dollars spent on experiments to try and make a mouse transgender
Yes.
is not true. It
Okay.
can't be true because a mouse can't be transgender.
Yes, they can. If a human can be, sure, animals can be as well. Just like animals can be gay and lesbian. Isn't that interesting?
What is transgender? Now, they can be gay and lesbian, but what is transgender? Okay, let's find out. Definition of transgender. Let's do this right quick. Definition of transgender refers to people whose gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. So the thing here is that the mice are going to act like the other sex. The experiments. So let's suppose a mouse was like a hen and a chicken. So the mouse is gonna the male mouse is gonna sit on the eggs while the female mice are gonna run around and hunt. Like what? No, I don't believe you.
Now, unfortunately, Leo, you could be 100% correct right now, but during the current historical political climate of gender affirming care, this story that Donald Trump has said seems very plausible if you think about it.
No, it's only plausible because they repeat it over and over and they sunk it into the minds of the American gullible people. And we're all going to be listen.
What
Here's
platform?
how it
What
works. Here's how it works.
platform?
I'm gonna teach you a little something about psychology. If you want to convince somebody of something, there's a few tricks. You say a bunch of nice things. You talk about how beautiful everything is. You say a bunch of nice things because the way the human mind works is there's a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. The conscious mind sits on top of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind can't reject information. It believes everything is told. The conscious mind's job is to protect the subconscious mind and filter out information so the subconscious mind doesn't get false information. Because once it hits the subconscious mind, you're going to believe it. You're going to act it out. You're not going to be able to protect it. You're not going to be able to not believe it. You have no choice once it hits here. This is where the protection is. So the conscious mind becomes more susceptible to allow things to filter through when it's in a positive state. So to put the mind in a positive state, you say a bunch of positive things. Everybody's beautiful. Everything's nice. Things are sweet. Things are good. This puts the conscious mind in a positive state, allowing things to filter through. Then you repeat something over and over again. Now you're in a positive mind. Things can filter through, and then you say the lie over and over again. Eventually, it seeps into the subconscious mind because the conscious mind won't be able to block it out forever unless you are consciously working at it. If you're not consciously looking at it, it'll seep through. The subconscious mind will grasp a hold of it, and you won't be able to shake the belief. And every salesman knows how that works to some degree.
What?
Every
But
salesman
what?
uses the technique.
My question is this: how is Donald Trump getting his messaging across? How? Where do people go to sop this up? The most American people go. They believe it because they see him speak on CNN, CBS, ABC plays the entire clip of Donald Trump with all these lies? Or do they fact check him over and over again? If
Fact
that's
checking doesn't matter because so here's the other thing about the subconscious mind. Ready? The subconscious mind doesn't understand negative words. What does that mean? You can you can't say not. If you say I'm not going to smoke, all the subconscious mind hears is smoke. It doesn't hear the not. That's how it works. That's psych. That's how it works. So fact checking him is not going to work because all you're doing is repeating the same thing he's saying. Throwing the negative connotation on it is not going to help the subconscious mind.
tell
You're
that
actually
to
helping.
Tell that to the legacy media. Maybe they'll listen to you for a change.
Basic psychology. I'm not trying to teach. I gave a little bit here, but that's what it is. It's how it works. It's how the subconscious mind works. So Trump again is brilliant. He understands this. I'm going to say it over and over. They're going to repeat it. Now you're hearing it over and over again. It's seeping deeper in. It's working. Thank you, legacy media. By the way, I do have it notated here that Miss Levitt, once again, announced that Trump is working to push the bill through the Senate. That's according to the person that he has dealing with the media. He is working to push this bill through the Senate. That's what they are claiming. He wants this bill to pass. Levitt is saying it. He is saying it. So they want this bill to pass. I don't know why the word veto comes up on a bill he's working so hard to push. Wow, I actually used her cadence when I said that. Tax cuts and tax increases based on a Trump analysis. What article was I reading this from? Tax cuts and tax increases based on Trump analysis. I don't know what article that was. I'm not going to get into it. It might come to me later. Oh wow, this is a good one. Scary. I don't know if anything's good about it, but it's accurate. So I'll
That's right. You gotta keep us scared to keep us nice and focused on this Trump stuff. Keep us nice and scared.
Keep us nice and scared. All right, I'll do that. Keep us focused on the Trump stuff. That sounds like a good idea. Oh, look at there, it's Trump. But wait, I'm gonna stop the share. Because yes, it's funny you should say that when the person I was going to share was indeed Donald Trump himself. So yes, I'm keeping you nice and scared of this Trump stuff that is actually Trump himself speaking. It's about him admitting that he's going to raise the debt ceiling.
And we find out government's a little nasty on occasion. Hello, Peter.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, we have to take care of that, because if we don't take care of it, we have a country in default, and we don't ever want to have a country in default. You know, I'll tell you, a certain senator, Elizabeth Warren,
I went too far.
said,
what are we talking about here? Let's go back a little
Senate
bit.
with the House, but the end result is it extends the Trump tax cuts. If it doesn't get approved, you'll have a 68% tax increase. You're going to go
what?
up 68%. That's a number that nobody's ever heard of before. You'll have a massive tax increase. If it does get approved.
So without a bill going through, there can be no tax increase. The 68% number he made up. You have to have a bill to cause that tax increase. He's lying. But that's not the part that this I mean, this is crazy he said that. But let's
Always got nitpick, huh? Always got a nitpick.
Nitpick, he's lying to get this bill passed.
And we're still
But let's see what he says about the debt ceiling.
You'll have a large tax cut, the largest we've ever had, when you add the past tax cuts that we got you, the Trump tax, they call them the Trump tax cuts.
The taxes for the rich.
It's an amazing bill. It does amazing things. With all of that, it's going to be
we went through this 2 episodes ago.
I realized something. I should have said the entire time when people like you say the tax cuts to the rich, I need to see some numbers now.
I did. I showed it to you. I read it for you line for line. I read it for you. Oh, we went through this.
What is the net income?
This.
What's the net income of the rich? Define rich. Just define rich. What is it? He's going to give tax cuts to the rich. Well, what is the rich? What salary range?
200 million of rough.
Oh, God.
Adjusted a little bit over the next coming weeks, and I think it's going to be passed. The Republicans want to pass it. With all of the great things it does, including an extension of debt, it's the extension. We have to extend the debt. If we don't extend debt, we're in default. Now, the Democrats might like our country to be in default, but in 250 years, we've never been in default. That was handed to them by a very well-meaning man that gave it to them because he thought it was the right thing to do. It could have been their problem before the election, but this man thought it was the right thing to do, and he was well-meaning. I don't hold anything against him for that, but that was put on our plate when it should have been on the Democrats. September 28th, a famous date. It should have been taken care of by the Democrats, but this person, a man of power, gave it to us so that in June that comes due. Well, we have to take care of that, because if we don't take care of it, we have a country in default, and we don't ever want to have a country in default. You know, I'll tell you, a certain senator, Elizabeth Warren, said that she would never, ever allow a default on our debt. She would never let it happen, and she would like to get rid of the debt ceiling, what's called the debt ceiling. I call it the debt extension because we really need an extension, that she'd like to see that gotten rid of. And there are many people that agree. Many Democrats agree with that, but we gave that through, and you know, I don't want to say an error. He did it well-meaning. They gave that to us. It was a Democrat problem just before the election. Would have had a huge impact on the election. And to our benefit, we won anyway, but to our benefit.
I didn't notice before that Trump started actually reading from a script. That's interesting.
But felt that really for the good of the country, we should extend that. But Elizabeth Warren and various other people would like to see that. Her whole career, she wanted to see it terminated, gotten rid of, not being voted on every 5 years or 10 years. And the reason was because it's so catastrophic for our country.
Now, I know you're not a man of finance, and I know that's not economics as your strong suit.
Can I go to bed now?
In a minute, we're going to finish this up. We're going to wrap in a minute. But do you understand what just happened, what he's saying?
No, most American people don't. Therefore, they don't care. Isn't that interesting? How oligarchies, which you don't use in everyday language, how Gestapo, who we don't use in everyday language, works. People don't care because this is above and beyond them. It doesn't affect them, no matter how much you scream it in their face that they should be concerned and scared.
That's apparently a fact.
Yes.
But basically what he's saying is that he wants to be able to borrow as much money as he wants to give to the people that he feels deserves the money, regardless of how you determine rich. And he doesn't want there to be a debt ceiling, a limit to how much he can give to people. And then the American people pay it back. So those tax cuts that go to the undetermined amount of people that determine rich, we can go into the bill and look at it. I think it's 200 million or above. No, it's people that make over $200,000 a year and above. 250,000. It's either $200,000 or $250,000 a year and above. And then the people underneath that will have to make that money up. And if there's no debt ceiling, he can make the number that they get, any number he wants. He can make up a number in his head, put it on paper, and somehow the American people have to pay for it because the debt ceiling is the only thing stopping him. Did you understand that, or?
I'm too tired to even want to understand.
The debt ceiling is the only thing stopping him from saying everybody that makes $200,000 a year gets an extra $10 billion. The higher the ceiling, the more money he can give. And then we got to pay it back. So what he's doing is he's saying he's putting himself in position. He wants to pass a bill that puts him in position to be able to say, you know what? Screw the bottom half. Everybody's making mad money on top. That's literally what he said. He literally said, I want to extend the tax cuts and I want to take away the debt ceiling so that I can make the tax cuts whatever I want. That is literally verbatim what he said. Like, I just played the clip. He said that. This is not speculation. This isn't being reported by the right-wing news, the left-wing news. He literally read it off a paper right in front of you.
Okay, I'm good with that. What's the alternative?
Anything is better than that.
Nothing. There is no alternative. We're good.
Anything is better than that.
Well, convince all the people that voted for Trump to do it right next year in the midterm elections. So far, everybody's happy.
Nah, they won't be. I'm not worried about that at all. I just want to report it now so that by the time it comes, I have enough people listening because they're so fed up that I can help give people information. And I'm establishing myself as a person that gives information, correct information, so that, and listen, if you believe that I'm saying something wrong, that's why you're here too, to correct me so that they get the right information. If I'm wrong and I'm corrected, they're still getting the right information. If I'm wrong and you're correcting me, they're still
You
getting the right information
define
because you're correcting it. That's why this
what
is
you
great.
define as right information. It doesn't matter, Leo. What I'm trying to get people like you to understand is no matter how much you say anything about Trump and what's going on, because of what happened previously, we just don't believe you or care or feel the effect that you're screaming that is supposed to be happening or what will happen, what could happen, what should have happened. No, we're good. I'm good.
I wish I put a timestamp on this because in that very same video, I didn't put the timestamp. He wants to allocate grant money that's going to colleges to go into trade schools, and
Which
he
we all
literally said
wanted
this.
the whole time, which we all keep crying about. We need more trade schools. So once again, Trump gets it done.
Me crying that? I've been saying what about this bill again? From the very beginning, sound? I don't know. Um to so that they could he literally said so they could help to build Elon Musk rockets and robots. Not to build rockets and robots, so they can help Elon Musk build rockets and robots. He wants to allocate the money from colleges so they can go to trade schools to help Elon Musk. Is literally what he said. I wonder if it has anything to do with the amount of money that was contributed to his campaign. Do you think so? No, nothing to do with it.
Could be.
Don't care.
Don't care, actually, but it could be.
Ah, finally, because it is getting late. There's a provision in the bill to post bond. That means they have to put up bread to challenge Trump in court. While if you're trying to sue him for anything that he puts in the bill, you have to put up a bond to challenge him in court. So now, in order to be able to file a lawsuit because you lost your job because of DEI, let's say, now you got to come up with $10,000 to post a bond to even file the lawsuit, or you have to in this bill you have to actually post a bond. You have to put money up in order to take the government to court to sue for something that's right. Get your job back, or you was wrongfully arrested, or you didn't get your due process. That's in the bill. They're good with that too.
Okay, it's in the bill. Everything is in the big, scary bill. But be that as it may, so far, support for Trump and his big, beautiful bill is still going to be there. Hopefully, you can find something out there shouting it at us for the thousandth time to make us react the way you need us to react. That's my point.
I don't think I'm gonna find anything.
I represent the part of America that's like, whatever.
I don't think I'm gonna find anything. I think what's gonna happen is as things start to come crumbling down, you're gonna look and that's what happened. And I'm just gonna point at Trump's picture. And hopefully
But Reverend, you said Jesus was coming back last Christmas. What happened?
what happened was I told you the last thing I said what happened, I said in the next week or two, prices were gonna go up. And now I'm showing you employees posting pictures of it. You're like, I haven't seen it, but it's happening. Trump's admitting it. And you're still in denial. I don't know what else to do. You're like,
exactly. I mean,
you
there's
won't
no
even
what
accept
else to do with us, do you? And
I don't. When Trump says I'm doing something and it's having negative effects, you're like, I don't see it. Even when he's telling you what's happening.
I see no problem here. Remember that one?
All right. Well, that's it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you you're just enjoying the show. You're like, oh, I'll do it.
Bed. I have a lot to do to get to Africa, get back to Ghana. Come on.
All right, brother. You gave your acknowledgement of where you're from and how you represent.
Yes, I'm Dion at nyconsultantsingular.us. Dion at nyconsultant.us. Come holler at your boy.
It'll be in the comments. It is late. I gotta get up in the morning too. Thank you for staying up with me. I will catch you soon. This is LC signing out.
Take care.